Welcome back, everybody, to our latest winter storm coverage. This is going to be our first of upwards of, I think, of about 6 different live streams that we are going to be doing, covering this major winter storm that is about to slam the United States. This is the first one. Obviously, there's no snow falling right now, and we do not have a winter storm actively happening right now, but I think it's a good opportunity to go way more in detail about this upcoming winter storm, and we're going to be going over so many different things in this live stream. Obviously, our videos today and the past several days have been around 20 minutes long, which is insane for my standards. I never usually go over 12 minutes. We've had a 17.5-minute video today, and I think it's just better if we start to do some of these live streams. Also working out some of the kinks with our live streams as we actually go into extensive severe weather coverage, as we are expecting to be live for upwards of 50 hours over the next 5 days. It all begins tonight. We're going to be live probably again tomorrow night. We'll be live almost all day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we could be live for upwards of 60 hours over the next 5 days covering this major winter storm. So this is the beginning of several different live coverages. And for those that are wondering, what is this live stream going to be about? We are basically going to go in detail about the watches that we already have, what is expected in every single state. We're going to go really in detail about each city, who's going to see significant snow, who's going to see significant ice, and just give you an idea of who is actually going to be the worst impacted from this significant winter storm, and then go over a lot of other details, like who's going to probably see around 1 to 2 feet of snow, who could see one of the worst ice storms that we've seen in the last 5 to 10 years, all that stuff. So we're going to be going really in detail here over the next several minutes. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. If you're new, make sure to click the bell icon also so you're notified with the latest updates. And we are going to jump right into things. We're going to start with our watches and warnings, then we'll kind of go into the forecast segment. And you'll notice almost the entire southern United States is shaded in blue. We are now we have at this point about almost 24 states that are inside of a winter storm watch that stretches from Arizona. Yes, Arizona is actually included in a winter storm watch, very far eastern Arizona, all the way into Texas, almost down to Houston now. Actually, winter storm watches have now just been issued for Houston. They also go all the way back into areas in the mid-Atlantic. So North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, all of you are now included in a winter storm watch. All of Kentucky, all of Tennessee, all of Arkansas, and only one county is not right now in a winter storm watch in Oklahoma. So pretty much across the board, we have a huge slew here of winter storm watches where we are expecting either a pretty historic winter storm, which could be a winter storm of a lifetime for some of you when it comes to snow, and then the other half is going to be dealing with significant icing, which is going to come from sleet and freezing rain. That is the most concerning part of this winter storm. I know a lot of you are excited for a winter storm to happen. Some of you are scared out of your mind. It's understandable. I mean, when it comes to the snowfall, a lot of you, I bet, are excited right now. Back over in Missouri, Southern Illinois, and Indiana. But back over in like DFW, for example, over in Little Rock and back through Nashville, a lot of you are probably scared right now because we're going to be talking about the possibility of a crippling ice storm. We're talking about the threat of over 1 inch of ice accumulation. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into some of our graphics here, and then we're going to kind of go into the future radar. And I'm going to begin with our winter storm severity index probabilities here. Essentially, this is at least minor impacts over the next few days. And if you're anywhere in the shaded area, it doesn't matter what shading you're in, you have a possibility of being impacted by this historic winter storm. It does not matter if you're in southern Wisconsin, doesn't matter if you're even down in southern Louisiana. I mean, all these areas at least have a 10% chance or at least a 5% chance of experiencing minor winter storm impacts. And I think in general, obviously, if you're in the darker shaded colors, so like Texas Panhandle all the way into Kentucky and Tennessee, that is where we're going to be experiencing the threat of a significant ice storm and obviously a significant winter storm when it comes to the snowfall. So that entire corridor, that's around a 90 to 95% chance. That includes this entire area. You need to be preparing now for a very dangerous winter storm. Obviously, the forecast has changed a little bit over the last 12 to 24 hours. We've seen some shifts to the north with our computer models, and that is going to continue. We're going to continue to see this windshield wiper effect until probably tomorrow night when it comes to the placement of our freezing rain, our sleet, and our snow. This is a very complex winter storm. I cannot stress that enough. So if you're in any of this region, definitely make sure that you're aware of the fact that the forecast is going to continue to change over the next few days. It is not locked in as of right now. As I'm talking about that, bottom right of your screen, CJ Ziegler has a car off the roadway. If you didn't know, there's actually blizzard warnings back over in parts of, let me go back up here. We actually have snow squall warnings. We have winter weather advisories and blizzard warnings back over here in the Midwest right now. So you can actually see bottom right of your screen, CJ is currently chasing out there. There's a car off the roadway. That's going to be a common sight over the next several days down in the southern tier of the United States. But figured I'd point that out. I just saw that on the bottom right. But again, anywhere in this region, you need to be making sure that you're preparing now. If If you have generators, make sure that those are ready to go. Test them out before we go into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because there is a threat that some places will be without power for days, if not perhaps even weeks. That is not impossible with the setup that we're talking about, especially over in the Carolinas, where we're gonna have a classic cold air damming setup, which is going to lead to a significant amount of freezing rain, which will lead to the threat of significant ice accumulation. Areas like DFW, southern Arkansas, even near Little Rock and Nashville, these are also areas that could experience power outages for days and maybe even a week or two in some locations, because the icing on these power lines is just going to be so significant. There will be some spots that pick up over 1/2 inch, and even in some cases over 1 inch of ice accumulation, which is extremely dangerous. This is once again our winter storm watch region, which does go from Arizona all the way back into the mid-Atlantic. So if you're in any of the blue, this is your time now to prepare. You need to get ready now. Does not mean you go to the store and buy all the milk and bread, because I've seen that a lot on Twitter. A lot of people are buying all sorts of milk and bread right now, and obviously the liquor is also selling out pretty quickly in a lot of places. It doesn't mean you need to go panic buy everything. Just make sure that you have your essentials ready to go. Have groceries for at least the next 5 to 7 days. It's always a good thing to have. Have some sort of perishable items as well. Make sure those are all ready to go. That way you are ready for this winter storm, in case you're one of those people that end up being without power for days and not able to drive somewhere. Because a lot of these areas, including Dallas-Fort Worth, will probably be without the ability to drive. When it comes to all the roadways, pretty much, I think in North Texas will be iced over unless they're treated. But in the DFW area, I would expect that from Friday all the way until Tuesday, we're going to have ice roads. So that pretty much means it's about 4 to 5 days that you might not be able to drive if you're not comfortable with driving on icy roadways, which many of you in the South do not have vehicles for that anyway. So it's probably a good idea to stay off the roads no matter what. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our future radar, kind of give you the hour by hour breakdown and everything that's going to be going down. Let me click the, oh, that's the wrong button. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the future radar. Also, real quickly, before we go into the future radar, I want everybody to go to the second to top link in the description below. We have a link that goes to our photos dashboard. If you're one of the people that have photos or videos of you preparing for this winter storm, I would love to see it. So you go to this website. All right, I'm going to go back to the other screen. Let's do that. There's a website. It's reports.maxvelocitywx.com. You can submit your own photos and videos to this website. And if you have any way you're preparing right now, send it in to us. I'd love to show it on our stream tonight. It's a good way to kind of show, ways to prepare and stuff like that. All you got to do is go to this website, you put your name or keep it anonymous. You click upload the media, whatever it might be, a photo or video, and then you click your location on the map. Again, this is completely free to do. You just do a couple buttons here and then you're good. So if you're back over here in Northeast Illinois, you can click that, or you can click get current location, either way. But yeah, just want to throw that out there. Riley has something to talk about. Go ahead. I don't know where the button is. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey Max, one thing I wanted to hit on quickly before we start talking about the weather models. You touched a little bit on the windshield wiper effect. We've seen the basically the max snow accumulations, the max ice accumulation, and just where the storm is going to be in general, going north and south, back and forth. Model accuracy has been a big issue because we're still 4 or 5 days out from this event when we first started tracking it. But another thing is this storm's not over land yet, and these models rely on observed data in order to be more accurate and do better. They're saying I'm quiet in chat. You want to try turning me up again? One of the things that we have going on shortly is the hurricane hunters are actually out there off the coast of California, and they're going to be flying into this storm and trying to take a look at that storm in real time and get these models some of our data. So back during the hurricane streams, we were talking about the hurricane hunters trying to get data for the hurricane models. This storm could be so significant. We actually have the hurricane hunters out there right now getting data for the like GFS and other models like that can use that localized data. So pretty soon here, we're going to see a major uptick in model accuracy as we get that data in from the hurricane hunters, and that's going to be something that's going to really lock in that trend north or south, and we're going to start seeing where the storm is more likely to go.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. So yeah, one of the most important things that I do want to note is that obviously models are going to continue to change, as Riley alluded to. So hurricane hunters are going to be flying, and they actually are actively flying out there. Before I go into the future radar, I just want to show you that on the map. Hurricane hunters are literally out there right now in the Pacific Ocean, right where our low pressure system is located. So pretty cool stuff there. Back over here, just off the coast of California. So they're currently getting some data. You can actually see them in real time on the Radar Omega app. So pretty cool stuff there. Definitely check that out. But they are flying around out there in the Pacific Ocean. All right, let's go into the future radar. Let's kind of go hour by hour, give you a detailed breakdown. And as I've already alluded to, this is going to be a very detailed stream. So I'm going to try to go as detailed as possible. And then I'm going to get to questions because I know a lot of you are going to have questions related to this winter storm. So let's begin with what's happening on Friday. This will be the beginning of our winter storm. So what's going to happen? We're going to have a large Arctic air mass diving out of Canada. That is going to be kind of our initiator. That's going to get all that cold air down here to the south to actually create this wintry precipitation. We have moisture coming out of the Pacific, including this low pressure system that is offshore, and then some moisture coming from the Gulf. It's all going to meet along this boundary. That is where we're going to have the threat of freezing rain, sleet, snow, and also cold rain. Obviously a bit more boring for a lot of you, but for some of you, you're probably going to enjoy the cold rain over ice any day. So that is all going to be along that boundary. That's going to stretch from New Mexico and Colorado all the way back into Virginia and North Carolina. Once we get closer to about 12 o'clock is when things are going to pick up in activity. So over in the Texas Panhandle, over in the Oklahoma Panhandle, that's where we're gonna have a little bit of light snow beginning. I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot of wintry precipitation during the morning on Friday. I think if you're back over here in Oklahoma or Arkansas, yes, we could see some patchy freezing drizzle at times. I'm definitely not ruling that out, but I don't think it's gonna be widespread. But in general, I would at least be prepared by tomorrow night. That way you're ready to go in case there is freezing rain on Friday in these areas during the late morning, early afternoon. Over in Texas, for most of North Texas, you guys are gonna be dealing with cold rain throughout the morning and early afternoon. Freezing rain is unlikely before 3 o'clock. By 3 to 6 is when the freezing rain and snow is going to start to pick up in intensity. So we'll have some light freezing rain out there over near Oklahoma City, back over towards Amarillo, and then light to moderate snow stretching all across the Rockies and also the Central Plains. Cold rain further down to the south. Eventually during the overnight hours, that is when everything is going to intensify. All three of those ingredients I just showed you, the Arctic air, also the moisture, that's all going to come together around this time, and it's going to explode into this very large winter storm. That is all going to be happening late Friday night with moderate snow starting to ramp up near Kansas City, Wichita, Kansas, and Tulsa. We'll have freezing rain ongoing in southern Arkansas, back into southern Oklahoma, and also the Texas Panhandle. Just to the west of DFW, that is likely where our freezing rain is going to be located. That is an important trend, by the way. I know a lot of you are probably tuning in from Dallas-Fort Worth right now, or anywhere in North Texas. We have a very large audience in that area. I do want to point out that if you are in North Texas, it does look like, at least for now, models are trending towards a cold rain for most of Friday. That is very important because if it does stay a cold rain all the way through 10 o'clock, schools will probably not cancel. But obviously, if things change as we go into tomorrow, definitely don't be surprised if you get a phone call from your local school and they say, hey, we're closed. That's entirely possible. It's going to kind of come down to how comfortable basically they feel about school being closed. Riley has something to add on to that. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey, Max, I was actually going to talk about something slightly different here real quick. If you go and open the reports dashboard, we already have a lot of people submitting pictures of their preparations for this upcoming winter storm. And one thing I want to hit right off the bat when we're getting everyone in here, and this is something we're going to mention a bunch of different times throughout this stream. If you have gas generators or propane heaters, those are not something that can be ran inside. Those need access to clean, fresh air. Otherwise, we risk carbon monoxide poisoning. Unfortunately, carbon monoxide poisoning is one of those things that sort of comes with every winter event where we do see fatalities associated with the storm because people don't know that generator safety and that heater safety. So we're going to start right off the bat telling anyone, if you're running a generator, anything else that's using a fuel, a gas, any of that sort of stuff, make sure you have proper exhaust set up to make sure that even if you get that heat, we're not getting any of those bad fumes, and make sure you're staying safe when using these devices.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. All right, that we'll go through the report dashboard in a second. I kind of got apparently a dog came out in the middle of this as well. But this is back over in Tennessee, for example, right? Let me go over to this. I don't know exactly how I do this anymore. Let me click this button. Oh, that's CJ. Okay, how do I don't know what button it is. There's a way for me to show you guys what is on screen, but I don't know which one it is. All right, well, in the meantime, I'm going to figure that out in a minute. But basically, this is what it looks like over in Tennessee right now, Mount Juliet. This is a local store. There's basically nothing left when it comes to milk and eggs. It's a milk and egg emergency over in Tennessee. All right, that is it's breaking news out there. Also, this is somebody in Irving, Texas. They prepared a little too much. I'm going to be honest, this looks good to me. This is pretty good preparation. So props to you for buying a ton of stuff. Hopefully this is already here, but I'm guessing you probably bought a lot of stuff at the store this week. And then they're apparently actually salting the sidewalks in Fort Worth. So that's over in Arath County, Texas, just outside of DFW. So again, we'll go through more of the photos and videos. A lot of you guys are sending those in. Again, if you want to check that out, if you want to send anything in, it is going to be the, I believe, what link is it? The second to top link in the description below. All right. I'm having issues with Stream Deck. All right, here we go. All right, let's go back to the future radar. Sorry, we got kind of sidetracked there. We'll go into the reports and stuff like that here soon. All right, so this is the future radar as we get closer to about 12 o'clock on Friday into early Saturday. So this is late Friday night into early Saturday morning. Freezing rain will be stretching from Little Rock back towards DFW. I think DFW will be mostly cold rain once again throughout the daytime. Nighttime, it should transition into freezing rain. We will also have some snow further off to the north. If you're back over here in Missouri, northwest Arkansas near Fayetteville, that is where light to moderate snowfall is likely. This is where things get a lot more complicated, is what happens on Saturday. We have two different scenarios. We have a more southern scenario that could go down, which means our freezing rain and snow is further south, meaning areas like Nashville, Little Rock, and back towards Oklahoma City would be dealing with a more significant snow threat. We have a more northern scenario as well, which is the European model, and what it is showing, it shows the freezing rain being further north, impacting Little Rock, Oklahoma City, Nashville, and it does not show, you know, Atlanta, for example, seeing as significant of amount of icing out of this winter storm, meaning that we have two scenarios basically on the table right now, and we could be dealing with, in Little Rock, for example, 12 inches of snow, or we could be dealing with 1 inch of ice. That is literally the scenario that's at hand. It's going to be either or. There probably won't be much of a middle ground there. So it's very important that over the next 24 hours that you're, you know, staying tuned to the channel. Make sure you're subscribed, as we will continue to have rapid fire updates on new changes that happen. But those are the two scenarios at play. So I'm going to go through the European model scenario here as we go into Saturday and as well as Sunday. So by Saturday morning, freezing rain will continue near Little Rock, back towards DFW. You guys will start to see that freezing rain pick up during the daytime on Saturday. Light to moderate snow will be continuing across parts of the Midwest and as well as the Central Plains, including Fayetteville and also Tulsa, Oklahoma, just north of Oklahoma City. As we get closer to lunchtime on Saturday, that is when this winter storm will start to expand more to the east. So it's going to kind of get stretched out. Our Arctic air is going to surge down to the south. Our boundary is going to get elongated. Our moisture is also going to kind of surge more out there to the east. So it's going to be surging more to the east here across Tennessee, northern Alabama, and as well as northern Georgia. Freezing rain is going to get a lot heavier as we go into the later half of Saturday morning into the early afternoon. So DFW, by this point, you should be off the roadway unless you know how to drive on ice, which, again, most of you guys probably will not know how to drive on ice. This is not something that's typical for DFW unless you used to live in Minnesota. Back into Arkansas, northern Louisiana, right along the I-20 corridor here. From DFW back towards Monroe, that is when freezing rain will start to ramp up. So any sort of travel plans you have should be done well before Saturday. As we get closer to 3 to 6 o'clock, that is when freezing rain is going to stretch all the way from Nashville back towards Lubbock, Texas. So DFW, Little Rock, also Jonesboro, Arkansas. You guys are probably going to see some freezing rain around this time as well. Back over here in the Midwest in the Ohio Valley, light to moderate snow will continue. The heaviest snow, which could be upwards of 2 inches of snow per hour, will be happening in western Kentucky back towards Tulsa. So if you're over near Mayfield, Kentucky, if you're near Louisville, that is where the more significant snow bands are going to be happening throughout the later afternoon and early evening on Saturday. And then by Saturday night, the snow and ice is all going to be stretched out. We are going to have a cold air damming event happening along the East Coast around this time. We'll have ice going all the way into West Texas, snow going from New Jersey all the way into New Mexico. I'm going to be honest with you guys, this hardly ever happens. I have never forecasted a winter storm of this size before. This is by far the largest winter storm that I think, ever forecasted on this channel. I mean, we are talking about a massive winter storm that stretches over 2,000 miles from west to east. It is huge. We are going to have winter storm impacts happening everywhere on Sunday. It is more massive than the low taper fade meme. That is how massive this thing is. So if you are anywhere from Texas all the way back into the Mid-Atlantic and the Ohio Valley, you need to be ready for this winter storm. We are talking about freezing rain in the Carolinas, northern Georgia, and as well as back over in Arkansas by Sunday or Saturday night. If you're over here, northern Mississippi, northern Louisiana, and southeastern Arkansas, that is an area that we could have some intense freezing rain Saturday night. It could be falling very, very quickly. So in these areas, you will probably see power outages by Saturday night into early Sunday. So have a plan ready to go for power outages in those areas. Across the board from Texas all the way back into the Carolinas, I would just be ready for power outages because we're going to at least have scattered power outages, if not numerous to even widespread. They could last days, so have your generator ready to go and have flashlights ready to go as well. As we go into Sunday morning, the freezing rain is going to continue from the Carolinas all the way back into Texas, Arkansas, northern Louisiana, and we should start to see a warm sector kind of develop here down in the southeast on Sunday. This is at least what the European model is hinting at. It kind of sets up an interesting scenario for Sunday because we will see a transition to snow in North Texas on Sunday, even though it's not going to be very long lasting. There will be snow in North Texas on Sunday after the ice storm happens throughout the daytime on Saturday. So if you look here, you can actually see the green here. That is going to be above freezing temperatures. That'll be stretching across most of Alabama, back into southern Mississippi, and even southern Louisiana. That's kind of a little warm sector that we're gonna have developing here, and that could create more intense icing on the backside of this low pressure system throughout the daytime on Sunday across areas like Nashville, Monroe, Louisiana, back over towards Tupelo in Mississippi. All those areas in that corridor will likely still have freezing rain during the daytime on Sunday. And then further off to the west, some light snow will continue over in parts of North Texas and southeast Oklahoma, and then significant snow will ramp up in Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, and southern New England. We could even have upwards of 2 inches of snow falling per hour back over in New York City. And then freezing rain will continue across Virginia, North Carolina, and all that. So it's just going to continue to have ice happening in those areas. By Sunday night is when a lot of the impacts will shift off to the east. We'll be talking about a pretty significant winter storm across the northeast on Sunday and into early Monday. Freezing rain is likely in Maryland. We could even see upwards of a half of an inch of ice accumulation in the Washington, D.C. area on Sunday if this northern trend continues. North Carolina dealing with the same thing. These are similar areas that were impacted by Hurricane Helene just a couple of years ago. And then on Monday, the snow will continue across the northeast, and then we're done with this winter storm by Tuesday. But again, this is going to be a nightmare of a winter storm here over the next 5 days. I mean, we're talking about this starting Friday morning. It's going to go all the way through Monday. It's about a 4-day winter storm. It all starts Friday and it will just continue. So this is going to be a very significant winter storm here across the board. Before I go into the snowfall accumulation, before I go into the ice accumulation, go more in detail about all of your locations and stuff like that, I do want to quickly show you a different scenario. And this is actually the NAM. So the latest NAM model run just came out, and it shows a very similar scenario, but it has a much more significant sleet aspect across Texas and Oklahoma. I'm going to be honest, I do not think sleet is going to be the dominant concern for freezing precipitation. I think freezing rain is going to be widespread. For those that do not know what sleet and freezing rain is, sleet are little pebbles basically that are falling out of the sky. Those don't usually cause widespread power outages. Freezing rain does. It sticks to power lines, it sticks to infrastructure, and as it accumulates and as those icicles coming down, that is what's going to weigh down power lines and cause power outages. So I do not think sleet is going to be the biggest concern here. I think it's going to be freezing rain. But it does show a pretty interesting scenario because it has a very large sleet storm basically happening from DFW all the way back into Tennessee throughout the daytime on Saturday, and it still shows the most significant snow from Oklahoma into Kentucky and West Virginia during the daytime on Saturday as well. I just wanted to throw that out there because, again, there are multiple scenarios still on the table. We are still about 2 days out from this winter storm actually developing, so things will continue to change. But generally speaking, again, if you're back over here in the southern plains, the mid-Atlantic, and even back into the Ohio Valley and southeast, I would be staying very weather aware. Things are going to continue to change over the next couple of days, but you should be preparing right now for an ice storm, a winter storm, depending on where you are, because that is what we're going to be experiencing. It doesn't really matter where you are. It's better to be safe than sorry. You do not want to be that person that all of a sudden Friday morning wakes up and you're in a rain area here on the map. Like, let's say you're over here in Houston and you're only going to probably see rain, at least according to the models. And then all of a sudden, as we go into, tomorrow night or Friday morning, you wake up and you're in an ice storm warning or something like that, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen in Houston, by the way, but you don't want to be that person that's caught off guard. So just be ready, have the preparations ready to go now. Now let's start to talk about the snowfall accumulation. Let's talk about the ice accumulation, kind of go into detail there, and then again, we'll go way more detail about other stuff as well, including cities and stuff like that. So this right here is the probability of seeing greater than 1 inch of snow here over the next 5 to 7 days. If you're anywhere in the dark red, you're going to see snow. All right, there's basically no way that's changing. So Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kentucky, congratulations. You'll see snow here over the next, few days. It's going to happen at some point, right? So if you're in far northern Tennessee, Kentucky, it's over a 90% chance. It's hardly, there's basically almost no chance you're not going to see snow in those areas in the dark red. But again, probabilities drop off significantly the further south you go, as a lot of this corridor here is the wild card. It's the question mark between seeing ice and freezing rain or seeing heavy snow that could lead to significant snow accumulation. So that's kind of the wild card area, which includes DFW, it includes Abilene, Texas, it includes southeastern Oklahoma, Little Rock, Jonesboro even's kind of on the fringe of that as well, and then back towards Nashville and Johnson City in Tennessee. You guys are all kind of on the fringe line there. This is the probability of seeing greater than 3 inches of snowfall over the next 5 days, which again, most of this will happen Saturday, Sunday. So the probabilities are very high. If you're over in Tulsa, if you're over in Oklahoma City, we are now sitting at an 80 to 90% chance of that happening. Northern Arkansas, near Fayetteville and Benton area, you guys are right around a 90% chance as well. Kentucky, Louisville, just south of Cincinnati, 70, 80, 90% chance for a lot of you. And then back over here in southern New England, this is actually where the highest probabilities are. Believe it or not, we're over a 90% chance across the Northeast. So the Northeast is going to get slapped by some pretty big snowfall as we go into late Sunday and Monday. Now, we're going into the fun stuff. This is actually fun, right? The snow is the fun part of this winter storm. Even if you don't like snow, most of these areas do not see snow that often. I'm just saying, I think snow is fun. I think the ice is terrible. So let's talk about the fun stuff before we actually get into the serious ice stuff. In terms of snowfall, in terms of seeing over a foot of snow, the probabilities are right around 30 to 40% in northwestern Arkansas. So that includes the Fayetteville area. You guys are sitting at a pretty high percentage. Back over into Kentucky, we're talking about a 30, 40, 50% chance across the board. And then the probabilities are very high over in the Appalachian Mountains, upwards of a 60, 70% chance. And then anywhere else is a minuscule chance of seeing over 12 inches of snow. Keep in mind, these probabilities will only increase. They're not going to really decrease. It's just a matter of the exact location of where we're going to see over a foot of snow. I expect at least 4 or 5 major cities here, stretching from Texas and Oklahoma back into the Northeast, at least seeing over 12 inches of snowfall. All right, so that is across the board what we're talking about in terms of those probabilities. And if you want to get really crazy, these are the probabilities of seeing over 18 inches of snow. As according to the European Ensemble group here, they're very low. There's like one area that's over in the Appalachian Mountains. So there's a very low chance across the board. I think I see maybe a speck over here in Kentucky. So, I mean, if you're over here in southern Kentucky, maybe a 6 or 7% chance. It's not very high, but there's a possibility there of maybe seeing a bit more snowfall than the rest. But again, across the board, we should at least see some locations over 12 inches of snowfall. All right, let's go into the actual snowfall accumulation and kind of break down what we're thinking in terms of the most significant snow. I'm going to show you the entire United States here first, and then we'll zoom into regions. I'm just kind of showing you where the most significant snow is going to set up. I do think Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle, northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, southern Illinois, all of you guys are going to likely see significant snowfall. And if you see all the pinks, and if you look at the key on the bottom of your screen, this is almost all over 10 inches of snow. So we are going to have a large swath of over 10 inches of snow stretching from Oklahoma City back into Kentucky, Ohio, including Cincinnati, Pennsylvania, New York, New England. All of you guys got to be ready for the possibility of over 10 inches of snow. I know I kind of alluded to this being a fun thing, but at the same time, this could also cause major travel impacts. It could cause power outages. Just be aware of that. Some of these areas as well, you're going to be so cold as we go into Sunday and Monday. Wind chills will be below zero. Temperatures will be below zero. And that's going to cause even more problems on top of there being snow. So if there's power outages here in Oklahoma and Arkansas, it is going to be extremely cold Sunday and Monday. We'll talk more about the extreme cold in a few minutes, but a lot of these places will have actual temperatures around or below zero on Sunday and Monday, which makes this a lot more dangerous. So have hot, like hand warmers, have those ready to go. If you have anything that can heat you up that would not be your own power and electricity, like your heater or something like that, have that ready to go just in case they're, in a case that you actually do lose power, which again, many areas will lose power here this weekend. It's not an if, it is you guys, a lot of people will lose power, not everybody, but a lot of you will. So plan for that. This is the National Weather Service blend of models. It shows basically the same scenario. It shows the most significant snow further to the north. Now let's dive into more specific areas, and I'm going to zoom into the map here. Again, this is kind of an estimate on how much snowfall you can see in the southern plains. All right, and I'm going to kind of break this down into a lot more detail because this is just one model run. It is not a for sure certain that you are going to see 14 inches of snow over in Fort Smith, Arkansas. I know it shows it on the model, but that is not exactly what you're going to see. Let me break it down into more simplistic terms. This is where the most significant snow is forecasted to fall as of right now. It's going to be in Oklahoma City, Wichita, Kansas, Kansas City, just north of Little Rock, back over towards Fort Smith, and the Fayetteville area. If you're north of Nashville, that is where we're probably going to see more significant snowfall going through Kentucky. We'll go to the Mid-Atlantic and as well as the Ohio Valley and Southeast in a minute. Over in Dallas-Fort Worth, this is an interesting area because we will be dealing with freezing rain pretty much all day Saturday. There will be a transition into light to moderate snowfall on Sunday morning. It probably won't be very long lasting. I don't know if we're going to see 5 inches of snow off to the west of DFW. I know the local National Weather Service at DFW did say upwards of 8 inches of snow is possible near Sherman, Texas. So if you're over in those areas, right along the Red River, near Denison, Sherman, Gainesville, those areas, I would not be surprised if we did see upwards of 8 inches of snow. But this is the area that I do think will actually have many areas reach or go over a foot of snowfall. So very significant snow is going to be on the table back over here in the Oklahoma City area. But again, as I alluded to, this is just one fun model. If we go over to the National Weather Service blend of models, this is a little bit of a different look at it because it's going to kind of blend a bunch of stuff together. And this is actually the most recent run. It shows the averages essentially of where we could see the most significant snow. And notice that it is much further off to the north. There is a possibility that, yes, over here in DFW, we could see a few inches of snow, but it's very uncertain. Essentially, you could have 0 inches of snow in DFW. You could also see upwards of 6 or 7. It's going to depend on how fast we go from freezing rain to snow on Sunday. And it might not be very long in terms of snowfall here in these areas, which is why I'm continuing to tell you that, again, if you're in the DFW area, we're probably not going to see a whole lot of snow. You might get lucky with a few inches. All right. But yeah, across the board, this is a pretty good estimate in terms of how much snow we can see. Again, we could see the shift again to the south here over the next couple of days. If you're in Little Rock, there is a possibility that snowfall could shift down to the south again, and we might end up actually seeing 12 inches of snow. But at least according to the European model and most reliable models right now, you guys are on the fringe of 1 inch of snow, which is nothing. And you might be wondering, are we actually seeing a major winter storm then? Once again, the freezing rain is a big concern. We're going to talk about the ice accumulation here in the south central United States in just a moment. And so we'll go into that in a second. Riley has something to add on to this. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey Max, before we cover what ice accumulations might look like, let's talk about why there's such a discrepancy in model data and what the difference is between seeing snow and rain, sleet, and all these other words that we've been throwing around. So the main difference is all broken down by this graphic here. It basically all comes down to the warm air pushing its way into the cold air. On top of most stuff, there's going to be snow. It's going to be like that across a lot of the system just because of how cold it is, and it might be a little bit different, but for the most part, that's going to be the case of it. Where we see the warm air push completely under the snow, and we have warm air from top to bottom, that's where we're going to see rain. Where we have just a little bit of warm air with cold air and cold air on the top and bottom, we're going to see freezing rain. This is what happens when the precipitation starts as snow, falls through the warm air, turns into rain, and then it gets super cooled as it goes through the remainder of that cold air and turns into freezing rain and instantly freezes on contact with any surface. Sleet is when there's a little bit more cold air. So this isn't a snowflake. It looks like those small pellets you've probably seen before. This is when there's just a little bit too much cold air for freezing rain to occur. And then we have snow. Snow is, of course, snow. It's when it's a whole column is cold air. That's what you see. But the reason that we're sort of seeing models go back and forth between freezing rain and sleet is they don't really know how much cold air we're going to have yet. If we see less cold air at the surface, we're going to see freezing rain. But where we see more cold air at the surface, it's going to be sleet. This is going to go back and forth until it's literally happening. Even the same day, the models probably won't have this nailed down to a T because it just comes down to such a specific interaction to see freezing rain or sleet or snow. But it is going to happen in one of these general areas that we're talking about. Anywhere on that boundary, if you've seen that boundary go north of you, south of you over the last few days, assume that you're going to see either freezing rain, sleet, or snow. It's going to be one of those three. We just don't quite know which one yet. The models do seem to be locking in a little more. Actually, as we speak, the hurricane hunters are making their very first pass through that low off to the west of California. And this is going to show in the next model runs. And this is going to mean that those models are much more accurate in terms of what this storm is going to do. So we're only getting more accurate here, but this is the reason why we've seen so much discrepancy in models and what type of precipitation you're going to see and where.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. So yeah, again, if you're just tuning in, and this happens with a lot of winter storms, but yes, hurricane hunters are actually flying around our low pressure area that's going to bring moisture into the southern plains as we go into Friday and Saturday. That's when the winter storm is going to ramp up. So they're actually flying out there right now and collecting data. So there is actually hurricane hunters out there. They are doing active missions. They did this, by the way, with the rare snow event that we had in Georgia this past weekend. They did the same thing over in the Gulf when we had a bunch of moisture down here. They're just basically measuring data, getting a better grip for the forecast. And so once we have this data tonight and early tomorrow morning, it'll be a lot easier to predict what's actually going to be happening as we go into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, let me go back into our more detailed forecast here in terms of snow and ice. And again, we kind of talked about the southern plains here. And once again, I think the most significant snowfall will be located here across areas like Fort Smith, north of Little Rock, and then back over towards Fayetteville, Oklahoma City. We're likely going to see around 10 to 15 inches of snow. I would at least expect, if you're in northern Arkansas, over 8 inches of snow. Same thing here in northeastern Oklahoma, southern Missouri, even St. Louis, by the way. You're probably going to see right around 8 to 10 inches of snow. Like, it's going to be pretty significant up there too. Kansas City, going to be a bit more 50-50. I think 4 to 8 inches is a realistic range for right now, but that could change. And then back over towards like Evansville and Louisville, we're going to talk more about in a second, but I would expect more snowfall. We'll talk more about the ice accumulation down here in a second. That is way more important for those that live down here in the south. Let's go into the snowfall across the southeast and the Ohio Valley. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you have a better view of everything here across the board. This is significant. All right, this is a lot of snow. What the European model is showing right now, we are talking about the possibility of a widespread 10 to 15 inches of snow. That is going to stretch from western Kentucky near Mayfield into Louisville, Cincinnati, could even see around 12 inches of snow, and then all the way back over into the northeast. We're talking about the possibility of pretty significant snowfall all across the northeast, including Maryland. I do think in general this is probably a bit more realistic. I was just showing you the Kuchar. It's a different, basically, blend of showing you different snow accumulation. This here is the 10-to-1 ratio. This is going to be closer to what we'll probably actually see. But at this point, there will be a large area that is going to see a widespread 10 to 15 inches of snow, probably going from Fort Smith, Arkansas, into northern Kentucky, and then back into Pennsylvania, bearing any sort of major shifts in the forecast. So if you're in Pennsylvania, widespread 6 to 10 inches of snow is on the table. Maryland, I would probably expect, at least if you're in Washington, D.C., somewhere around 5 to 10 inches of snow, and on top of that, some ice accumulation. And then southern New England will probably be seeing some sort of nor'easter conditions there with high winds, and on top of that seeing significant snowfall, likely going to see around 6 to 12 inches of snow. If you're over in the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, this entire corridor, once again, you're probably wondering where's the winter storm. It's all going to be ice, I think, for most of these areas, which is going to be extremely dangerous in the Carolinas and back into Tennessee. So let's go ahead and talk more about that. Before I talk more about that, this is the National Weather Service blend of models to kind of give you an idea of snowfall accumulation, and it shows a much more significant scenario actually for Virginia, Maryland, showing a widespread 12 to 18 inches of snow. So basically at this point, we don't exactly know how much snow is going to fall in this area. It could be a bit higher, it could be a bit lower. I'm just kind of giving you ranges as of right now to how much snow you might end up seeing if you are in Maryland, New Jersey, or Pennsylvania. But again, at least 6 to 10 inches of snow is on the table for Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Washington, D.C., at least 4 to 8 in that region. All right, this is really the most concerning thing. It's going to be freezing rain. Ice accumulation is going to be extremely dangerous, and we are talking about the threat of a crippling ice storm, possibly a historic ice storm across the southern plains and the southeast and back into the mid-Atlantic. This is going to be very significant. This could close down a lot of roadways for days, as temperatures are not forecasted to get above freezing for most of this region between Friday and Tuesday. We could be dealing with 4 straight days of below freezing temperatures. That means untreated roadways in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Arkansas, are going to be iced over, which means a lot of schools are probably going to close. There's probably going to be a lot of businesses closed. I am honestly very concerned for small businesses here in the Southern Plains and also the Mid-Atlantic, because what could happen is that we could have a lot of businesses here in North Texas and Arkansas that are shut down for days. So after this winter storm's all said and done, I would definitely try to support small business as much as possible, because a lot of these areas are probably going to be struggling. I mean, we're talking about upwards of 4 to 5 days that some of these places might be closed because they just can't physically operate. A widespread ½ inch to an inch of ice is possible from the Dallas-Fort Worth area all the way back over here into Tennessee and northwestern Mississippi. So this entire region here, you need to be ready for over a ½ inch of ice. Not all of you will see it, but you need to be ready for that. That's what you should be preparing for as of right now. What does that mean? Widespread power outages for days, possibly even a week in some spots is possible. Infrastructure damage is also possible. And major travel impacts for several days are likely at this point. So any of this region here, you need to be preparing for the threat of an ice storm. So a ½ inch of ice is a possibility. Notice here that this is freezing rain. This is not necessarily ice accumulation. You can see that at the top of your screen. This is freezing rain, not necessarily ice accumulation. So these numbers will be about 20 to 30% lower than what they're showing in terms of actual ice that sticks to the ground. With that said, even if we were to see a fraction of these numbers, we are going to have so many trees that are snapped, it might almost look like a tornado went through your area when it comes to the tree damage that we could see with ice like this. Again, we're talking about possibly an inch in some spots. So that is extremely dangerous, and we do not see ice storms hardly ever like this far down to the south. So very dangerous stuff that we're talking about. Even if you're in one of these areas that might only see a 1/10 of an inch of ice, that could still shut down roads for a week, or not a week, but maybe for like 4 days, for example. Because again, temperatures in some of these spots, like near Houston, might not get above freezing for about 4 days. So that is why this is very concerning. Freezing temperatures for 3 to 4 days is going to keep a lot of the ice on the roadway. Even if you do not see ice accumulation on Sunday, right behind that Arctic cold front, we're going to see temperatures rapidly drop. That could lead to a flash freeze. So any liquid rain that's on the ground could also lead to icing in some spots. So that's something I want to point out. This is the National Weather Service blend of models. Again, it just kind of averages everything together. If you see a number on your screen that's near your location, be preparing at least for that. Again, that is a bare minimum number for a lot of these areas. I do think if you're back over in like Memphis, for example, we'll probably at least see a 1/2 inch of ice accumulation. Little Rock, 1/2 inch. Dallas, Fort Worth, at least 1/4 inch of ice, probably over 1/2 inch though for a lot of those areas. Again, we could see around a 1/10 inch of ice, maybe up to a 1/10 inch of ice back over towards Houston. But again, it's a little bit more uncertain the further south you go. We also could see a little thin layer of ice accumulate underneath all the snow in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri. So just keep in mind, even if you're in one of those areas that's predominantly going to be snow on Friday, you actually could still see a brief amount of ice that actually accumulates on the roadways because temperatures might be around or just below freezing. Once the snow hits the ground, it might actually melt and actually freeze into ice. Something to keep in mind if you're further off to the north, even if you're not in one of those areas that's expecting ice accumulation on these maps. And then back over in the southeast, this is where a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen here. Well, we've seen a pretty dramatic shift over the last 24 hours from computer models, and the European model is the one that's leading the charge basically when it comes to that. It shows most of Alabama and also even Georgia not seeing as much ice accumulation. However, we're going to have a cold air damming event happen as we go into late Sunday, which may lead to a transition of heavier freezing rain, especially if you're near Atlanta, Georgia, and also off to the north. We're going to be talking about the possibility here of around a 1/2 inch of ice still on top of all the rain that we're going to be seeing throughout the day on Sunday. So that's something to keep in mind. Atlanta, Georgia, you're definitely not off the hook when it comes to ice at this point. If you're over here in northern Alabama near Huntsville, I know it doesn't show you in any sort of ice accumulation as of right now. Definitely could change, and we're going to probably have a flash freeze as we go into Sunday night and Monday, which means there will likely be some level of ice accumulation. This is where things get a lot more concerning. The cold air damming event will likely lead to significant ice accumulation across parts of North Carolina and Virginia. We could easily see over a 1/2 inch of ice in a lot of areas, including the mountainous regions. That could knock out power for days. The local National Weather Services offices here have been telling a lot of the local residents that, hey, we're probably going to have power outages for days, if not even maybe over a week. So be prepared for that type of incident. I do want to point out that over here, this is where the highest uncertainty resides. I do think areas like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and even Arkansas, it's mostly locked in on what we're going to be seeing in terms of precipitation type. There could be another shift tomorrow, but it probably won't be as dramatic. Over here in the southeast and the east coast, this is where things can swing a lot more. It could swing a lot further north or south in terms of ice, snow, and all of that, which is why even if you're not in one of those highlighted areas here in Alabama, Mississippi, back into southern Louisiana, you should still be preparing for the threat of ice accumulation, as these areas will still have that possibility. It's just a matter of, again, the shifts tomorrow that happen. And as we get that recon data from the National Hurricane Hunters, there will definitely be some shifts. This is the National Weather Service blend of models on the most recent run, and again, it hasn't really changed a whole lot here over the last 6 hours, but it is still showing the most significant icing being in the Carolinas, back over near Atlanta, and then back through Nashville and also into Arkansas. I do think if you're in Nashville, I think if you're in Memphis, it's probably going to be more of an ice storm rather than a snowstorm. But again, if we see a shift to the south tomorrow, that's going to change things a ton. So that's just something to keep in mind. So, to kind of put everything into perspective as of right now, this is our thinking in terms of the forecast. So if you're in the pink, that's where ice accumulation is the most likely. It does not mean you're not going to see snow, but this is where the most consistent readings are right now for ice accumulation. Heavy snow is likely in the darker blue. That goes from Tulsa and even in the Texas Panhandle all the way towards the southern New England area. Light to moderate snow possible as far north as Chicago, back into the Northeast, and also into the Texas Panhandle. We also have breaking news coming out of ERCOT. That is the power grid supplier of Texas. They say they are fully prepared for this storm. I'm pretty sure they said that back in 2021. I could be wrong, but they are fully prepared for this storm. Obviously, power outages are likely in Texas, at least in the northern half of the state, because of ice accumulation. That's not really something they can control a whole lot of. Ice accumulation is extremely dangerous, but ERCOT has said that they're fully prepared for the storm in Texas, if you're tuning in. I know a lot of you are probably from Texas, so just throwing that out there. This is the area that you should be preparing in. All right, if you are in the dark purple, it says prepare now for a reason. You should be preparing right now. If you're watching the stream, you can have it on while you're shopping. If you're shopping right now, send me pictures, by the way. We have a link, second to top link in the description below. It's the reports link. You can send us photos and videos of your local grocery store, ways you're preparing. Do that right now. We're going to be looking at some of your photos and videos in a minute. But even if you're walking around in the store, say, hey, you can watch Max Velocity for the latest weather information, right? Just go ahead and say that to your local, maybe your person that you're checking out with, like, hey, I'm watching Max Velocity right now. He told me to go shopping. So, I mean, basically at this point, you should be getting groceries, though. If you're back over in the southern plains, back into the mid-Atlantic, that is where you should be preparing right now. Area to watch is the pink. That is where we're still uncertain if there's going to be winter storm impacts, but you should at least be aware of the situation. I'm going to be honest, this pink area probably can go further west. I mean, New Mexico is under winter storm watches, even down towards Houston. So, generally speaking, that's where you should be preparing. If you're kind of in that middle color, that's where you should already begin preparations. Just be ready for the possibility of a major winter storm. But it's more likely than not, if you're in the dark purple, that is where major winter storm impacts are on the table. Take a screenshot of this right now. If you don't know how to prepare for winter storms, this is a great graphic to give you an idea of what you should be doing. So right now, any of this yellow stuff is what you should be doing. Check smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Do not leave your car running in your garage. Do not leave your generator running inside your house. That is extremely dangerous. Gather emergency resources and supplies for your home and car. An ice scraper. You don't already have one of those, you should get one. We're going to be selling those at some point in the future, by the way, so that'll be something that's coming out soon. But at least for right now, go get a cheap one at your local store if you don't already have one for some reason. If you're in Texas, that might not even exist, by the way. You might not be able to even get an ice scraper, because Texas doesn't really see this very often. It would be a seasonal item for literally 2 days. So, you might not even have one at your local store. If you got a shovel, maybe your local, Tractor Supply or something has shovels. Go get one of those. If you have a Lowe's or Home Depot, they probably all have shovels. So you might want to get one of those as well. First aid kit, have that ready to go. Band-aids, all that stuff in case an incident happens. Top off fuel for your car and additional heating sources. Go to the gas station tonight or tomorrow. Probably a good idea to get some more fuel. If you have an electric car, charge that thing up. All right. Just good ways to be prepared. Because again, power outages are possible. Now, tomorrow, or by tomorrow, I would probably do this tonight, but by tomorrow, not brink, but bring plants and pets indoors. Tracy with the $10 super chat said, protect your pets. I agree. Protect your pets. Bring them inside. Do not leave them out there stranded and cold. That is not fun. Bring them inside. It's going to be very dangerous out there, especially with all the ice. Plants as well. Protect your plants or bring them inside. Protect pipes. We're going to have the cold air that we're going to see on Sunday is going to burst pipes in the southern plains and across the Ohio Valley. You need to protect your pipes. Adjust your plans. So if you have any sort of travel plans, if you are planning on going to the Patriots and Broncos game on Sunday, making a road trip tomorrow from Nashville to Denver, you need to have alternate plans. I'm going to be honest, airports might even be closed in some of these areas, so you might not even have a way to get there. But adjust your plans accordingly, because it's going to be very dangerous as we go into late Friday and Saturday for most of these areas. Have multiple ways to receive alerts. Again, your phone, a weather radio, our live streams, our social media pages are another way as well. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter at MaxVelocityWX. We're posting tons of updates over there. Subscribe to this channel as well if you've not already. We're going to be doing tons of live coverage, and also on top of that, we'll have plenty of videos coming out here over the next few days. And then during the winter storm is kind of more for later, but obviously use extra caution. If you are driving, I would not recommend driving for most of these areas, but if you are for some reason driving, use extra caution. Properly ventilate emergency heat sources, and then check on neighbors, friends, and loved ones, especially the elderly. We also have to talk more about the extreme cold. There are extreme cold warnings in effect in Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, and Montana, and even Iowa. There's also a risk of exploding trees. I know this went pretty viral yesterday on social media. I did not really think this was going to go viral. But exploding trees essentially is when we have a cold air, when temperatures are 20 degrees below zero or lower. And essentially what happens with the trees is they make a gunshot sound or an exploding sound out here in the northern plains. This happens a lot, and some of you might not even know this is a thing, but it's actually called exploding trees. All right, so essentially when it comes to exploding trees, it happens during extreme cold. It's essentially like a gunshot outside. That's what that means. It happens a lot more often than not when it's 20 degrees below zero, but it will probably happen if you're in northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, where temperatures will get as low as 30 to 40 degrees below zero. But it's essentially the exterior bark that's cracking and just snaps, and it makes a really loud sound. So yeah, but again, Arctic air mass will move through the Midwest and the northern plains on Friday. It's going to get extremely cold by Friday and Saturday in these areas. By the time we go into Saturday and Sunday, that Arctic air will make it down into the southeast, and we are going to have Arctic air sitting around at least through Tuesday. So here are the actual temperatures. This is very important because we are also talking about the threat of ice accumulation. across these areas. So it's very important that you see this here. So as we go into late Thursday into early Friday morning, temperatures will be as much as 25 degrees below zero in Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota. Again, these are not feel like temperatures. They are actual temperatures. By Saturday morning, those temperatures will get even more cold in parts of Minnesota. Wausau, Duluth, right around 20 to 25 degrees below zero for actual temperatures. Temperatures down into the low 20s and teens for most of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Tennessee. And then by Sunday morning is when those temperatures will drop significantly across the southern plains. This is pipe bursting cold, and it will lead to any sort of ice accumulation sticking there for quite a bit. Temperatures will get even more cold in the northern plains on Sunday. So we could actually have exploding trees going through Sunday in Minnesota, North Dakota, with temperatures as low as 30 to 35 degrees below zero. By Monday morning, temperatures will still be very cold in the Midwest and across the Ohio Valley. We could have temperatures down to 0 degrees in the Dallas-Fort Worth area by Monday morning as well. So we are talking about brutal cold for those areas. Monday afternoon is when some areas in the southern plains and the southeast will be near or just above freezing, but for the vast majority of you, like Nashville, Huntsville, maybe even Atlanta, just north of Dallas, Oklahoma City, a lot of you are still going to be below freezing. So ice is still going to be on the road for most of Monday. Even if the ice melts on Monday, it could refreeze as we go into Tuesday night, as the temperatures will go all the way back into the low 20s as far south as Florida by Tuesday morning. Still very cold here across the southern plains. Tuesday afternoon is when things will start to warm back up. We could still have a lot of snow and ice on the ground from Oklahoma back into Kentucky on Tuesday. It might not melt until Wednesday or Thursday, as another Arctic air mass is going to move through the northern plains by then. Also, the wind chills are going to be pretty insane if you're back over in the northern plains. Some areas will be as low as 50 to 55 degrees below zero. This is not a localized event. It's actually widespread. It goes from North Dakota into Wisconsin, even over near Chicago, where Caleb Williams is probably, he might not be there anymore. He might be in Cancun, but, back over in Chicago, 35 degrees below zero. Milwaukee, right around 40 degrees below zero for a wind chill. And then by Saturday morning, we're going to be talking about wind chills across the board, 20 to 35 degrees below zero. So extremely cold air all across the northern plains and the northeast. And then once we go into Sunday morning, you might be shocked by this, but we're actually going to have some areas back down into Texas and Oklahoma around or just below 0 degrees for feel-like temperatures. Some spots could be as low as 60 degrees below zero in far northwestern parts of Minnesota near Fargo. And then there might be a small area here where many of you might travel to, right along the Gulf Coast, Mobile, Florida. Those are the only safe spots, really, when it comes to this winter storm in terms of temperatures. Florida is really going to be the only safe spot. I'm in Florida. I am one of a few million that are in a safe place for this winter storm and are not going to see impacts. We're kind of lucky over here. But temperatures will be in the mid-80s as we go into Sunday. So, yeah, you might be jealous of where I'm at, but I'll be marked safe at least for a little bit of time. And then Tuesday, temperatures will still be very cold, and wind chills will be extremely cold as well. So, again, that's what we're looking at. And then in terms of the demand for liquor, I know a lot of you are probably stocking up on drinks because, it's going to be a long next 5 to 7 days. If you're anywhere in the red, there's a high demand of liquor right now. A lot of people are going to their local liquor store and getting prepped. Wisconsin's also in here. I mean, Wisconsin's there any given day. But, yeah, again, you guys need to be prepared for a pretty significant winter storm here. So, again, that's what we're talking about across the board. This is going to be a very significant winter storm. I can't stress that enough. Over the next 30 minutes, really next probably hour and a half, we're going to go way more detail about a lot of stuff. We're going to go over specific cities and stuff like that. I'll be answering your questions in the chat as well. So make sure that you are asking your questions. I'll be getting to them. Before we do that, I want to show you guys ways that you guys are preparing. So the top link in the description below, it's reports.maxvelocitywx.com. You guys can look at the different, you can actually send in photos and videos to us. I just need to figure out which button it is. I do not know what button it is. Let me figure this out here. So this is CJ Ziegler right now. He's over in Wisconsin chasing some pretty significant snow. Let me see if this works. All right, I think this is the button. Maybe I figured it out. All right, we figured it out. All right, let's go over some of the photos and videos you guys have sent in to us for preparing. This is from Joshua over in McIntosh County, Oklahoma. Went last night to get a generator. If I would have waited today, I wouldn't have been able to get it. Good point, by the way. If you are currently going shopping for a generator, you might not be able to get it. Logan has a, looks like a coat, a jacket over in North Carolina for their dog. Firewood ready to go with the max velocity stream in the background. Over in Oklahoma, we got another person with a generator. By the way, this is not an ad. This is just people putting generators on here. But we got a heater and it looks like some propane as well to go along with that. So that is in case the power goes out over there in Madisonville, Kentucky. And they got milk and bread as well. And then this is sent in by Tristan over in Virginia. Got another generator. A lot of generators. We got a lot of beef sticks. There you go. Getting the generator set up for the first time over in Mills County, Texas. First time to bring that bad boy out of the shed. And then we got a snowblower over in Arkansas. There is no way. This guy has a snowblower in Arkansas. If anybody has a snowblower in North Texas, you got to send me a photo. I'm actually curious. Got more propane tanks. Got all the alcohol in the world sent in from Joe over in Georgia. This guy is prepared. I got to say, that's a lot of bourbon. Not taking my chances this weekend. This is sent in by Sam, a little Jackery kit. Got water, pet food, pantry staples. This guy's drinking a Coors over in Indiana. You're used to it, so I don't think there's too much to worry about there. Got more radios. Food in the refrigerator. This is not going to last you a week. This is going to last you maybe... this would last me no more than a day, other than the sodas and the Mountain Dews. This person has cheese, milk, mustard. What are we doing here? Bro, what are we doing here? We're not prepared. Hey, Ryan over in Wichita Falls, Texas. You might need to stock up a little bit more, all right? I don't see enough food here. This is not going to last you more than maybe a day. We got firewood over in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We got a generator over in Connecticut. And then we got some more propane. Look at Tarrant County, Texas. Everybody's buying the bread. Not very much bread left. I think that's a Walmart. This is not a bad kit. We got a lot of water. Got a light. Got some pretzels. Okay, this might last you 2 to 3 days. Got a flashlight. There you go. Matches. Got some popcorn. It's a good kit. And there you go. Got more essentials in Denton County, Texas. Got a lot of whiskey. This is snow over in Pennsylvania. There's been some pretty significant snow over in Pennsylvania today. Bought a couple of gallons of water. As you can see, the cases of singles are gone. This is over in Stanley County, North Carolina at a local Walmart. So, again, if you need to get essentials, now is the time to do so. Definitely do not wait for that. All right? Do not wait to get your essentials. All right, we're going to go through a few more photos, and we'll kind of go into questions and stuff like that. Got a cat watching me. Got some dogs. Got some medicine and non-perishables. Homemade bread, that's probably better than trying to buy bread at the store right now. Got flashlights in North Carolina. And then a few other things as well. Wow, look at this in Knox County, Tennessee. There is basically nothing here at this local Murray's store. Hardly nothing right now. A lot of bread. A lot of bread gone to Longview, Texas. I think bread is... I think bread is the biggest thing. Over here, this anonymous person in St. Louis. I think I'm prepared. I can see the alcohol, and I see a bag of Cheetos in the fridge, and then we got a gallon of milk. That is certainly one way to be prepared for this winter storm. Thank you for your contribution. Got another cat. Got 3 stacks of water. Bread is completely gone over in Georgia. Got a fireplace going. Oh, that was a fireplace watching the Max Velocity stream in Pocahontas County, West Virginia. Got gloves, winter stuff. Now this is what you guys need, all right? If you do not have perishable or non-perishable stuff, you don't have stuff ready to go, this is what you need. You need an entire kit. Got a bunch of chili. That is a lot of great value chili. I'm kind of concerned with how much chili you bought. But outside of that, there's a lot of stuff here. All right, you got Fritos bag. These are my favorite Cheetos, or favorite Fritos. You got the chili cheese Fritos ready to go. That's a good setup. I will do 3 more. Walmart in Norman, Oklahoma. No bread there. And then eggs are actually not doing terrible in Cartersville, Georgia. So there's good egg selection there. And then last one here, DeKalb, Georgia is not looking too good when it comes to water. So again, if you want to submit photos and videos, you can send it in to us. You can scan the QR code on your screen and you'll go directly to it. Or click the link in the description. All right, it keeps flipping off it. But that right there, reports.maxvelocitywx.com, you can go over there and check that out. All right, now we're going to go more into detail. We're going to answer your questions. If you have questions, leave those in the chat. Before you do that, I do want to mention that today's stream is brought to you by Accurite. It is our brand new weather station sponsor. They have tons of equipment over on their website. You can go to the top link in the description below and use code MAX10 to get 10% off on any purchase. All right, they are affordable weather products like weather stations. All right, and other stuff. Riley, can I get the link? I don't have the link on me. We have a brand new sponsor on our channel. Very exciting. But Accurite, in case you don't already have Accurite weather stuff, you can get some with the top link in the description below. If you go over there, you'll be sent to this landing page right here. And you can see my recommended product. You can see Riley's. You can see Connor's. What a photo of Connor right there. And then you got Storm Intermedia. All of us are working with Accurate to bring you some of the best weather equipment and some of the most affordable weather equipment on the market, including weather stations and a ton of other stuff. So make sure to check this out. They have a lot of cool discounted stuff. They have a lot of accessories like anemometers. I actually have an anemometer in here, but I don't know where it went. But like something like this, these cool little tools, these are very cheap on their website. Definitely check it out. You can even get a rain gauge. Those start from like $5, so you can get something cheap over here. But check it out. It's a brand new sponsor on our channel, and we wouldn't be able to do all the stuff that we do here on this channel without our amazing sponsors. Accurate is an amazing partner that we're going to be working with. We're probably going to be integrating weather data, like weather stations that you buy from Accurate, into the Radar Omega app at some point. So that'll be something that's actually going to be a much bigger product or project in the future. Storm Chasers, Connor Croft, Storm Intermedia will have Accurate weather stations, and at some point down the road they will have live data when they're on tornado warnings or winter storms, picking up data like wind speeds and all that. So definitely check Accurate out. Again, top link in the description below, and use code MAX10 for 10% off at checkout. All right, let's get into some of the questions about this winter storm. And if you have anything, Riley, let me know about emergency, anything I didn't mention on that document. Apparently we can do a heat map. Everybody go to the second to top link in the description below real quick. Go to reports.maxvelocitywx.com. Go to the location report tab, and if you click a place on the map and you click that, which you don't really have to, but you click that and click submit, we're gonna do a heat map so we can see where everybody's tuning in from. That'll actually help us to be able to determine where we should be talking about more. So go ahead and go over to this website and then just click submit so we get a general idea of where you're located, and that way we can kind of break down more in detail some of the areas that a lot more of you are tuning in from. But we'll try to break down everything here. All right, let me go to some of the questions here. Thank you, Kansas, for the super chat, saying, how is Kansas going to be with this storm? So over in Kansas, I think this is going to be a much bigger winter system when it comes to snow. I don't think there's going to be much ice up there in Kansas. So be ready for the threat of upwards of 6 to 10 inches of snow for most of the state. If we go over to the snowfall accumulation, this is going to be almost all day Friday and Saturday. Mostly Saturday, though. So we're looking at in terms of snowfall accumulation. So back over in Kansas, near Kansas City, probably going to see around 6 to 10 inches of snow. If you're back over in southeast Kansas, near Wichita, probably going to see right around 10 inches. I think snow is going to be the biggest concern there. Somebody else just asked in the chat about Louisville and St. Louis. So St. Louis, you guys will be right around 5 to 10 inches. It's a large range right now. It'll be much more narrowed down tomorrow. Louisville, you guys are probably going to pick up around 10 to 15. I think you guys are going to be on the higher side of things, assuming that we don't see a big shift back down to the south. I need to turn up my AC. It is way too hot in here. Now, a question about Cleveland. I do not think Cleveland is going to be that bad. I do not think Cleveland's going to be too bad. I think Cleveland's going to be just maybe an inch or two. I don't think Cleveland's going to be looking at like a major winter storm. Probably just maybe a couple inches of snow. Right now, the European model is showing around 5 to 6, but I think it's going to downtrend. Again, I think tomorrow we're going to see the models go back to the south. I don't think it's going to be that significant of a shift, but it will shift, I think, back down to the south, which could be the make or break when it comes to like Nashville, for example, either seeing, you know, an inch of ice or half an inch of ice versus seeing upwards of a foot of snow. So there's going to be a major difference there for sure. But I do think that we're going to see a shift down to the south again with our computer models tomorrow, for sure. Thank you, Cation, for the super chat. Asking about Richmond, Virginia. Richmond, Virginia, you guys are going to be mostly an ice event, I think. Snow is possible. We could see mostly snow. We could also see mostly ice, but I think it's going to lean towards mostly ice down here this far down to the south as we go into late Sunday and Monday. And I think that's mostly just because of the track that we're going to see with this winter storm. Again, we're not really going to know exactly which one it's going to be until tomorrow, but just prepare for both. I mean, again, we could see all ice, we could see all snow, or at least mostly those two. But I think we're going to be leaning more in the direction of an ice event in Richmond, probably around a quarter to half an inch of ice, and then snow. If you were to see a more significant snow event, it could be easily around 5 to 10 inches of snow. Your chat is crazy. I'm aware. Let me slow down the chat here. We have 37,000 of you watching. If you are new to the channel, again, make sure to subscribe. Do live streams like this all the time. Also, make sure to click the bell icon so you're notified with the latest updates. As we'll have another, we're also going to do another one of these streams tomorrow night too. But I'm going to try to get to as many questions as possible. Thank you, Nathaniel, for the super chat. Springfield, Missouri. I think Springfield, Missouri is probably going to be around about 8 to 12 inches of snow. That's generically the range I'm going with. Even if we saw a shift to the south or north, it's not going to matter. So some areas, even if you see a shift, if we see a shift with the models tomorrow, it's not going to matter that much. I think southern Missouri in general is going to see a widespread 8 to 12 inches of snow, and northern Arkansas. So essentially anywhere that I'm circling here, I don't think the snow accumulation is going to change that much. I think it's actually going to be pretty significant in this corridor. All right. But if you're back over in areas like, for example, if you're back over in like Little Rock, for example, that is an area that we could see a dramatic change. Like we could go from seeing, right now it shows 1 inch of snow. We could see it up to 10 inches again tomorrow if we see a southern shift. At this point, I do not see there being a whole lot of shifts to our forecast in this general region. I think at this point, it's not going to change much. If it does, it could change by up to 50 to 100 miles, but it will not be a dramatic shift. We are going to see either a significant snow or ice storm in these areas, including Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Significant snow is on the table. DFW, back towards Longview, Texas, we're talking more about an ice storm. I do not think it's going to change that much, though, in those areas. Riley has something to add on. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey, Max, quickly, I just wanted to touch on the last time that a few of the towns that we've been talking about all night have seen more than 10 inches of snow. So I know we have a lot of people of you tuning in from Nashville. We're working on that heat map. It's a new version of the heat map, so our program froze because of how many of you submitted reports, but we're working on getting that out to you pretty soon. But last time that Nashville saw greater than 10 inches of snow was back in 1979, and they saw 11.3 inches of snow during that snow event. The last time Louisville, Kentucky saw more than 10 inches of snow was in 1998. That was back when they saw 11.6 inches of snow. Memphis, it was over 2 days, not a 24-hour time period, but that was back in 2021 when they saw 11.8 inches of snow. In Little Rock, also over 2 days. This was also that 2021 snow event that we've referred to multiple times, impacting Texas and all these other regions. Little Rock saw 11.3 inches of snow from that event. And Oklahoma City, the last time they saw greater than 10 inches of snow was back in 2009 when they saw 13.5 inches of snow. Now, we're not saying that these areas are for sure going to see 10 inches of snow, as we're still going to see totals go up and down a little bit before we finally start to see those weather models lock in. Right around that time that we get those winter storm warnings, that is when we're going to be more confident on what the total snowfall will be. But these are all areas that could possibly see greater than 10 inches of snow. And obviously, some of these areas haven't seen that much snow in 20 to 40 years. So it's definitely a significant event. This is probably a once in a lifetime storm for some people in these areas. So that's why there's so much hype around it. And that's why you keep hearing about it, is because it is going to be very significant and it will be historic as well.
All right. Thank you, Riley, for the update. I do want to point out something that I think is important because this has been going around on social media a lot over the last 24 to 48 hours. There are graphics being posted on social media showing 18 to 24 inches of snow over here in southern Arkansas. That's not happening. We would have to see the most dramatic shift ever for that to even happen. I just want to throw it out there because there's like some actual forecast maps from stations or wherever it might be. I don't know what it was. I saw a graphic. I've seen multiple graphics go viral though. We're not going to see 12 to 18 or 18 to 24 inches of snow in that area, and there will be very few areas that even see 18 to 24 inches of snow. That would be a very narrow corridor, and right now the European model is showing that across northern Arkansas and extreme eastern parts of Oklahoma. So if you're over here in southern Arkansas and you thought you're getting 18 to 24 inches of snow, hate to burst your bubble, you're not. So there's almost no way. I mean, like literally we'd have to see the most almost unscientifically dramatic change in the next 24 hours for that to happen, and I just don't see that happening. So just throwing that out there. There's been a lot of graphics on social media that have shown so many different things. I'm trying to give you the most clear forecast. Again, there are still two scenarios on the table, a further southern or further north track. The European model is more to the north. I think this is what we're probably going to end up seeing. The most significant amount of snow could still shift south. It could still shift a little to the north, but I don't think it's going to keep going north. I think, if anything, it's going to stall or go south again with the more recent runs, which probably means, like Little Rock, you might be leaning a little bit more towards actually seeing accumulating snowfall other than just an inch, because that's what it looks like right now on this model run. But again, I just want to point that out there. Apparently, the European model, or not the European, the HRRR model, I think the 0Z just came out. I just want to quickly look at that. HRRR is usually decent when it comes to forecasting winter events. It's not terrible, but it's at least one of the high-res models that we can quickly look at. And this is what it shows on the 48-hour mark. And so this is pretty much on trend for what we're talking about. Even the HRRR is showing freezing rain at 6 or 7 o'clock on Saturday in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. So this is lifted way further off to the north, and then snow happening further off to the north. Again, if this scenario pans out, it's going to start as a cold rain for most of North Texas, if not all of it. That's been one of the biggest changes over the last 24 hours is areas like DFW and North Texas. It looks like we're going to be talking more about rain rather than ice, at least during the day on Friday. That does not mean you're not going to see an ice storm or a winter storm. You guys are eventually going to see that sometime as we go into Saturday, but it looks like Friday night for right now, it looks to be more of a rain event. And these are the temperatures that are forecasted at that same exact time. And then we should see that Arctic air plunge on Saturday, but Friday night, temperatures in the mid to upper 30s, low 40s. So predominantly it looks like rain for right now. But look at this over in Arkansas. Like there's no precipitation on the future radar at this time on Friday, but temperatures will be cold enough to support freezing rain, so even if there's a light batch of precipitation, it could lead to a glazing of ice on the roadway by as early as, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Hey, I man for the super chat. How much snow will Owensboro, Kentucky receive? I'm going to just show you a general snow map for Kentucky. Let me go back over to here. So this is kind of a generic look in terms of snowfall. So like Eastern Kentucky, not really looking at a whole lot of snow as of right now. That could change again. This is one of the areas that's a wild card, but we're going to probably have a large batch somewhere in Kentucky that sees around 10 to 15 inches of snow. Whether that's up here near Louisville and Cincinnati or whether that shifts to the south again tomorrow towards like, trying to think of names here. Let's go over to the map. Not as familiar with Kentucky. Back over near Bowling Green is what I was trying to say. Bowling Green, like Russellville, for example. I think you guys are going to be right on the cusp there, seeing upwards of 10 to 15 inches of snow or seeing less than 3 inches. Like, it's going to be a very sharp dividing line. But if it shifts south again tomorrow, you're going to be in the bullseye for significant snowfall. Cincinnati, I just had somebody ask that in the chat. Again, Cincinnati, you guys are also kind of in a stalling period right now because, again, the models will probably shift again tomorrow somewhere. But I would at least be preparing for 6 to 10 inches of snow. Just keep in mind that could drop to like 3 to 6 inches. But you're probably at least going to see 3 to 6 inches of snow. If we go over to the probabilities of seeing greater than 6 inches of snow right now, Cincinnati's at about a 60 to 70% chance. So it's pretty decent odds right now. Thank you, Casey, for the $20 super chat. What do you think for Waleska, Georgia? Don't know if I'm saying the name right. Let me see where that is first. I'm going to kind of talk about the entire Atlanta, Georgia area, because basically all of Atlanta is kind of on the cusp right now of actually seeing ice. And it's going to be a tricky forecast, but at this point, like if you are in the Atlanta, Georgia area, I would be preparing for an ice storm. Again, that's entirely possible, especially if we see the models shift again to the south tomorrow. The latest European model run doesn't show a crazy amount of ice. It's mostly off to the northeast of you in the higher elevations, but even in the Atlanta, Georgia area, we might have a cold air damming event that happens on Sunday. Those can tend to be a little bit harder to predict, and we could end up actually seeing at least 1/10 of an inch of ice. And then if we go over to the National Weather Service blend of models, you can see that it just shows a large mean, basically just a large average of totals here. But this is at least what you should be preparing for, is at least 1/4 of an inch of ice accumulation in the Atlanta area. What do I think will happen? I think you are going to see ice on Sunday. I just don't think it's going to be a lot. I don't think we're going to see an ice storm in Atlanta. That's just my prediction as of right now. I don't, again, things could change tomorrow, but that's at least for right now what I'm thinking. I think it's going to be a little bit too warm there throughout most of Sunday. There will likely be ice at some point Sunday into early Monday, but I don't think it's going to be too significant. It's going to be significant no matter what, I should say, but it's not going to be, like, I don't think those areas are going to see over 1/2 inch of ice, for example. I think like, the higher elevations will. Connor Croft with the super chat, area with the best chance of seeing 6 to 7 inches of snow. I'm going to go with, let's go with, south of Cape Girardeau. Let's go right there. I don't know what town that is. Whatever that is, we're going to go 6 to 7 inches of snow right there. That's Cartersville, Missouri. Memphis predictions. I think Memphis is going to lean more towards ice. There will be some sort of transition into snow, I think, sometime on Sunday, but it should be mostly ice. Most models, again, are trending north. Even the 0Z model runs that we're starting to see coming in, those are still trending north. So there hasn't been really any dramatic changes. Again, the hurricane hunters are currently flying over the Pacific Ocean, collecting data. Once that's inputted into models tomorrow, we might see some changes. But for right now, it's almost everything has trended a little bit more to the north. But I think Memphis, Nashville, you guys are going to be leaning more towards an ice storm rather than a snowstorm, which is unfortunate because, again, those areas could literally have power, would that be without power for days if we actually see significant icing? So that's just something to keep in mind. Hey, also, Cotton for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. Thank you to anybody that's become a member. Thank you, Sneaky, for the super chat. Chattanooga, Tennessee. I really think almost any part of Tennessee is going to be predominantly an ice threat. I think if you're back over in Chattanooga, we could be in the warm sector, so that ice might not be much of a factor until late Sunday night. You can see on the European model, it doesn't really show any freezing rain in the Chattanooga area until about 6 o'clock on Sunday, and it's a very brief time period. Ice is going to be the main concern, I think, for almost all of Tennessee. In the very far northwestern section, which is near like Dyersburg and Union City, those areas will likely have at least a transition to snow, but I don't think it's going to be very long lasting. So I think ice is going to be the biggest concern in those areas. Let me go over to this. I'm going to go back and look at some of the photos and videos you guys have been sending in. These are some of the submissions that you guys have had on the stream today. And again, if you want to send us something in terms of preparing for this winter storm, it is the second to top link in the description below. Then we'll go back into questions. This is, let's go to, we'll do like some of the last like 10. Let me go to 109. This is from Aiden in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. The lines. Yeah, if you're going to Walmart or Target or any local grocery store tonight, good luck. These lines are probably going to be this long for a while. Not ideal. And then this is sent in by an anonymous person in Newcastle County, Delaware. They got a lot of beans. Got some Thousand Island dressing. They're ready for the storm. What are you going to... I mean, there's like... very little. I mean, there's a lot of beans, it looks like. I don't see anything to go with the dressing. I feel like this segment has turned more into a judging what you have in your pantry rather than an actually looking and seeing what you guys are preparing with. This is from an anonymous person in Richland County, South Carolina. 20, not pictured, is 20 pounds of brisket, 10 pounds of jerky, 4 cases of beer, and other essential pantry items. The beer is an essential. Got some carbon monoxide detectors. That's over in Longview, Texas. This is from Auntie in New Mexico. Love our Accurate weather station. W. Again, if you want to get some Accurate products, that is the top link in the description below. Accurate is sponsoring today's stream. They have a lot of weather stations just like this one. You can have it in your backyard. It collects data like temperature and stuff like that. It's basically a view into seeing what's happening outside. Your backyard without actually going outside. This is a lot of stuff in Smithfield, Virginia. I Feel Ready is their name, by the way. I don't think that's their actual name, but they are ready. That is a lot of stuff. Homemade sourdough bread. I want some of that sourdough bread. I'm not going to lie. That looks really good. That is from Valkyrie over in Texas. This is in Smithfield, Virginia. Not heading into the liquor store. I think you got plenty. Is this like a 3 days worth? 3 to 4 days worth? Might be enough. It's from James in Georgia. Got the F-150 Power Boost. There you go. This is not an ad. The Got Too Much Food guy. It's in Irving, Texas. That's not enough. I mean, that's a good amount of food in my opinion. I don't know how many people you're feeding. I don't know if it's just you, but I think it's a good amount of food. It's better to be over-prepared than under-prepared for something like this. Is that a real goose? Is that alive? We got an alive goose watching the Max Velocity stream. This is a breaking news. We got a goose watching our stream. I didn't know that was even possible. They're preparing for the winter storm. They got one eye looking at it right now. This is an animal rescue? Bro, we got a goose watching our stream. This is... I don't know if that's ever happened. First ever goose to watch a weather stream. Maybe. This is sent in by... this says, I Feel Ready as well. This is more liquor. Some whiskey. It's about 2 days worth. You might need to get more. This is all the eggs are gone. This is an emergency over in Graham, North Carolina. There are no eggs left. What is going on here? Delivery this morning in Michigan. This person had a delivery this morning and put it out in all the snow. Okay. Wine. That is a lot of wine. That is a serious amount of wine. They are ready as well. A lot of people are putting I feel ready for their names here. This over in Addison, Texas. Got a lot of essentials, preparation, got first aid kits. It's a great idea. Flashlights. Again, if you guys are, I mean, again, I'm showing this for more informational purposes, like flashlights, first aid kits, have all that ready to go for this winter storm. Cat's hoping for, or the cat is hoping for a southern shift in Middle Tennessee. I would agree. Got a lot of wood ready. I've never had this much food in my fridge ever. Is that Cook Unity meals? We had a Cook Unity ad. I think that's Cook Unity meals. We had a Cook Unity ad like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Got strawberries, blueberries, got everything. Got Jello. That's pretty good. I am offended by the Coca-Cola though. Diet Coke is better. Got ramen. City of Long Beach, New York. Got a lot of ramen. You know, one time I had somebody fan mail me like 6 packs of ramen. That was back in college. I never even had one. I've never had ramen in my life still, so fun fact. In case you're wondering, we do have a fan mail link, or fan mail like address in the description. And this is from an anonymous person in Cook County, Illinois. Love my Accurate Optimus. Again, these are people sending us and stuff. This is not planted ads or anything. But again, we are sponsored by Accurate today. If you want to Accurate weather station, it's the top link in the description below. This actually has lightning strike data too, which is pretty cool. You know, what's cool is Accurate has like these little things, and this is super useful for golf. I wish I had one, but they have lightning detectors, like these little like things that you can hold, walk around with. They're lightning detectors. Like they can like detect lightning if you're golfing or something like that. Like it's actually really cool. Got the plow ready and the snowpocalypse of 2026 in Fenton, Missouri. I do think Fenton, Missouri, I don't know about a snowpocalypse, but there's gonna be a lot of snow near St. Louis, I think. Got plenty of milk ready. And this was also taken when we were looking at the goose. That's pretty funny. It's over in Newmarket, Virginia. Got some strawberries, got some water in the fridge. Good preparation. I think you're gonna need a little bit more. This is a really tiny fridge, by the way. I don't know what that is on the bottom left, but strawberries are not going to cut it for a week if you went without power. Thank you, Clean Productions, for becoming a member, and Eric for the $10 super chat. Really appreciate that. We're almost done with photos in a minute. We'll go back to questions and stuff like that. This is from Lacey in Pike County, Indiana. Got a lot of stuff in the pantry. They're stocked up. What in the world? I've never seen this before. You can have peanut butter and grape jelly in the same container. I didn't even know that was possible. It's called Stripes, apparently. They have Spam, too. I'm kind of disgusted by the Spam. But should I be concerned? In Lamb, Kentucky, I mean, I'd be ready for a snowstorm for sure. Lots of water in Neosho, Missouri. That's over in southwest Missouri. Got the booze in North Carolina. Fireball. Hey, now we're talking. I like Fireball. I've had Fireball shots before. Just gonna be honest. They're pretty good. I don't know how anybody feels about Fireball in the chat, but this is another person in Beckley, West Virginia. Lots of stuff. They're prepared. And there's almost no bread in Graham, North Carolina. Good luck getting bread. Yeah, I got about 6 selections, and probably 3 of those are moldy. So there's not a whole lot of luck there. Got a snowplow from Dave. I think I have enough food. That's a pretty good amount of food. I think that's good. And then our last photo for right now, this is from Penny, Monroe County, Tennessee. A lot of stuff in that pantry. And again, if you want to send in any photos or videos, you can click the second to top link in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen. Send us ways you're preparing. Send us your pantries. I might judge your fridge, but, you know, it's all worth it. I guess this kind of turned into like a judging fridge sort of thing. Thank you, Caleb, for the super chat as well. Let's go back over to here. All right, let me go back to questions here in the chat. Oh, apparently, so we have somebody approving all the photos and videos, obviously. Apparently, people are sending photos of, like, bare feet and stuff. Just don't send that. Apparently, that's been happening. All right, let's go back over to live chat. We answer some questions. Thank you, Coase, for the super chat. Hoping the ice and cold temperatures keep shifting north. I'm in Canyon Lake and New Braunfels in Texas. What do you think? I want to be honest, like New Braunfels, I think there'll be ice. I don't think you're going to see a full-blown ice storm that far to the south. There will be a brief transition into ice, I think, late Saturday into early Sunday, but you're not going to be seeing a full-blown ice storm. That's my take on it. I think, if anything, you'll see maybe a 10th of an inch of ice down there. Houston, maybe a 100th of an inch of ice. I don't think it's going to be that significant down there. Yeah, just crop that out, guys. That's being your photo. Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey Max, sorry, I have the reports dashboard up in the background. There has been a surprising amount of toes, and I just saw more out of the corner of my eye. I was going to touch quickly on the emergency declarations we have so far across the area with our winter storm watches. So Texas, we have already activated state emergency resources for 15 state departments. The governor has stated that he wants residents to have access to what they need before the impacts start. You can look just across from the screen from me. We see that impact starts a countdown over there. We want everything ready for the storm well before that counter hits 0. We're at 1 day and 13 hours right now. 1 day and 13 hours from now, meaning by tomorrow, you should have all the stuff that you need, not only in Texas, but across all the areas that we're talking about right now. The only other 2 states we've had any sort of state of emergency declared in are North Carolina and South Carolina. These are the 3 states that we normally see go early on these sorts of things. Other states like Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Missouri, Kansas, these are all states that we're probably going to also see declare some sort of state of emergency sooner or later. Normally, they like to do it around the time that we see those winter storm warnings issued. We're probably going to be looking at those being issued at some point tomorrow. So take the time now to prepare. Tomorrow morning is probably going to be the last time that you're seeing a lot of the stuff you need in stock, whether that's food, water, gas, generators, battery backups, carbon monoxide detectors, any of the stuff that we've been talking about all day today. Tomorrow morning will probably be the last time that you have to get it. Even if the storm doesn't come in till later, it's all going to be sold out. There's been a lot of people sending pictures to the reports dashboard of even trying to online shop. There's been Amazon saying that we can't get stuff in for a week. Amazon normally can get you this sort of stuff a lot quicker, but it's really selling out very, very quickly. I've done a little bit of online shopping for stuff like generators and battery backups. The one place that I am still seeing quite a few things in stock is Harbor Freight. So if you're looking to go get those things tomorrow, go check out your local Harbor Freight. There's a lot of generators there, and they have battery banks in bulk. That's really the only place that I've been seeing this stuff in stock. Walmart's, your Home Depots, your Lowe's, all sorts of those hardware stores, which sort of be your first go-to, are completely out of all these battery backups, generators, carbon monoxide detectors, and anything else you may need to see. So tomorrow morning into late or early tomorrow afternoon will be your last chance to get this stuff. We've been talking about it all day, so make sure you take action and go get that now.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. And another thing that is going quick is toilet paper. You might not be able to find any, so definitely make sure that you have toilet paper. I mean, hopefully you already have some, but in case you're getting short on it, it might not be a bad time to check your toilet paper stock and make sure you have that ready to go, because again, the toilet paper emergency is possible in some places. So far from what I've been seeing from you guys, it seems like bread is the biggest emergency. I mean, this is from Hannah over in Mongolia, Arkansas. There's no bread apparently in Magnolia, Arkansas at this point. Again, bread is not necessarily an essential thing that everybody needs, but obviously it's something that a lot of people are wanting to make sandwiches, cold cuts, whatever it might be this week. So you know, if we lose power in some of these areas for upwards of a week, it might be a good thing to have. But again, there's literally maybe 2 or 3 bread loaves on the shelf here. It looks like a Walmart. Again, I mean, if you want to make sandwiches, you might want to go get your bread right now, because it might not be there by tomorrow. This is in Knoxville, Tennessee. This is at a Kroger. I mean, this is also pretty, again, surprising. We got a lot of bread out of stock here. There's very little bread options. I think these are mostly hamburger buns and hot dog rolls. So if you want to have a feast of hamburgers and hot dogs that are cold probably if you lose power, then I mean you got options. Or you could also just put like peanut butter and jelly on the bread rolls too. I mean, that's also possible. Somebody's doing a little snow time lapse over in Edmond, Oklahoma as well, which is pretty cool. This is a pretty good fridge. This is over in Williamston, North Carolina. Got a lot of condiments. I really don't see a whole lot of like meat or anything. Got some cheese, eggs, not terrible. Got milk ready to go as well. Liam over in Vidor, Texas, I think is how you pronounce it. Charging batteries. This is a good thing, by the way. If you have portable chargers, charge them right now. Go charge them. Put battery. If anything requires batteries, put new batteries in, or have batteries nearby. Flashlights, like get all that stuff right now. Like while you're watching the stream, just get ready. Have that stuff in a common place. That way, if you do lose power and it's in the middle of the night, you don't trip over everything or your phone's dead or whatever it might be. Just have everything ready tonight, just in case something happens. It's a good time to prepare now. This is from Matt over in Bustle, Tennessee. Just a few canned goods. Yeah, that's just a few. That's a lot. Over here in Tennessee, that's plenty. That'll definitely last you a week. making some winter storm nails. That's from Olivia. Looks good. Thank you, Maria, for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. Also, shout out to Nerd for the $10 super chat. I've seen a lot of different totals in South Jersey. It could really go either way. I mean, I think South Jersey, right now, a realistic forecast is 4 to 8 inches of snow. It could easily be higher, could easily be lower. It's just going to come down to the track of the storm, and it's still going to change. So over in Norton, Ohio, got a lot of food there. Some leftovers, some pasta. I have no complaints. Looks good. And over in Spring Garden Township, Pennsylvania, they're ready as well. Got a little mini fridge of some sodas. Looks like my mini fridge. Got a fridge stocked up over in McKinney, Texas. Everyone in McKinney's dead. There's a Pete Douglas reference. I think that's what his name is. It's from Stiglet over in Cookeville, Tennessee. That is a fully stocked pantry. Do I have enough coffee? I think that's plenty of coffee. It's over in Kearney. And then a few more here. Got firewood, fridge. That is a really cool setup, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know, is this a local restaurant or something? That's really cool. I think that's a restaurant or something like that. First you have me on your TV. Electric generator ready in Richardson, Texas. Got drinks ready to go. And then the last one for right now, this from Laurel, ready in Delaware. Are those, oh, that's a lot of lights. This person has an excess amount of lights. Yeah, if you want to submit any photos or videos, you can scan the QR code on your screen. Or go to the second top link in the description. Hey, Doxy for the super chat. If you can't find bread in the grocery store, try gas station convenience stores. I saw bread in our local gas convenience store in Memphis. That is a good idea. And thank you for the super chat. Yeah, no, that is a good idea. Just real quickly, in case you're just tuning in, these are all of the winter storm watches that we currently have in effect. All right, they are going all across Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, back into the Dixie Alley. Atlanta, Georgia, you guys are not under a winter storm watch right now. That does not mean you're not seeing a winter storm, just at least for right now. There's not enough confidence for a winter storm watch. If increasing confidence grows in terms of seeing ice, you guys will be included in a winter storm watch down the line. But for right now, no winter storm watch for Atlanta, Georgia, Tuscaloosa, or Birmingham. But again, it is possible down the road that that will... I got distracted. That will possibly increase down the road. Back over into the Ohio Valley, we have winter storm watches for all of Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, and western Virginia, and then southern central Missouri and Kansas. All of you are under winter storm watches. You want to check your local National Weather Service for the details on all these because they all vary. You can see how the squares here cut off in different places. These are all different winter storm watches for different things. So depending on where you are, the impacts that the National Weather Service is forecasting vary. You can see this inside of the Radar Omega app. You can see all the different data here, and you can kind of see, you know, what winter storm watch means for your area. You can also just look at your local National Weather Service, but moderate to heavy mixed precipitation is expected, for example, in North Texas for any areas in this blue box with at least 2 to 4 inches of sleet possible, and as well snow and also freezing rain. Like 2 to 4 inches of just a variety of winter precipitation is going to be on the table here. They real life for the $10 super chat. They've already cleared out Atlanta for wood, propane, and cold items. You know, it's pretty interesting. I mean, Atlanta, Georgia is not under any sort of winter storm watch, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't prepare. It's just interesting because, again, the trends on the computer models have been shifting everything further north. And if Atlanta doesn't see anything, I mean, a lot of people are preparing, and I would say it's not for a bad reason. It's better to be safe than sorry, even if you're in Atlanta, Georgia. Models are not really showing nearly as much ice accumulation, at least on the last couple of runs. That will probably change tomorrow, but it's definitely a good thing to be prepared. And I do want to stress this again. If you are in Atlanta, if you are in Alabama, in northern Alabama, like those are areas that I'd be preparing right now. This is a graphic to give you an idea of where you should be preparing right now if you're not already. So that does include the Atlanta area, includes Huntsville, Alabama, includes Nashville, Johnson City, Tennessee, Bowling Green, Kentucky, Louisville. All of you guys should be preparing for a winter storm. Again, the impacts are going to vary. Where we're going to see the most significant ice accumulation will likely be in the pink area. Most significant snows in the darker blue, and then lighter blue will be just some light to moderate snow, not as significant, but still something that you want to prepare for. So this will be, again, starting Friday into Sunday. Huge shout out to DNK for the $50 super chat. I'm a heavy wrecker operator in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to get a live cam I'd like to share on your stream with our impacts. Reach out to me with my email. It's down in the description below, or it should be at least. Definitely reach out to me via email. Is the best way to get submit cameras and stuff like that. Thank you, Cotton, for the super chat. This storm is going to be a bust. You heard it here, folks. Okay. I mean, there's almost no way this busts. I mean, it might bust for like a few cities or whatever. I mean, bust as in quote unquote, like Atlanta, let's just say things continue the way they're going right now. There might not be a whole lot of ice, but again, it could be either way. I mean, that might be the only thing. But like when it comes to the widespread impacts, this is not going to be a bust. We do have a heat map of where everybody's tuning in from right now. Again, if you want to put yourself on this heat map, you can go to the link, second to top link in the description below, reports.maxvelocitywx.com. Just put your location on the map. And right now, we have a lot of people tuning in from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, but this is kind of an idea of where everybody's tuning in from. We got a lot of people in St. Louis, Dallas, Fayetteville, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Washington, D.C., New York City. A lot of you guys are tuning in to big snow event for those areas, I think, this weekend. North Carolina, Nashville. You got the Charlotte area of North Carolina. A lot of you tuning in from there, near Johnson City and Chattanooga. And then I don't know who's tuning in here, but we got fish tuning in out there in the Atlantic Ocean right now. We got maybe 1 or 2 fish. Fish friends might need some help. If you're a fish, definitely go south. Don't go north here. That is where we're going to see some snow and higher winds and higher waves. If you know any birds, too, definitely give them a heads up about this winter storm. You know, to alert our animal friends. Thank you, Tyler, for the $10 super chat. Lombard, Illinois. I think most of Illinois across the board, if you're in southern Illinois, that's where the most extreme impacts will be felt when it comes to snow. Further north you go, the much lower amount of snowfall accumulation you're going to see. Best chance for over 8 inches of snow will be back over near Cape Girardeau. If you're back over towards St. Louis, Springfield, other surrounding areas, we're not talking about as much snowfall. It would probably be in the ballpark of, you know, maybe 3 to 6 inches, 4 to 8, but not going to see anything close to what we're going to see in this very narrow corridor of significant snowfall. Thank you, Nash, for the super chat. Thank you, as always, to you and Riley. Appreciate the super chat. And also, thank you, Bum, for the super chat. Do you think ice in Nashville will thaw by Tuesday? Got to travel to Birmingham, Alabama. Nashville's going to be a close call. If we go over to the temperatures, and again, this is one of the biggest concerns, is that after all the ice accumulates, it could stick on the ground through Monday and Tuesday across the south because the temperatures are going to be so extremely cold. Those are wind chills. Let's go over to actual temperatures. So these are the temperatures as we go into Monday afternoon. And so most areas across the Gulf Coast will be above freezing again. That means if you're on the Gulf Coast, if you're back over in, Dallas-Fort Worth, temperatures should get above freezing again by Monday. Doesn't mean ice is completely done with, but at least during the afternoon, some of the ice will melt. Tuesday, I think temperatures across the board in most of Tennessee will still be below freezing, but during the afternoon, they should warm up back over near Chattanooga and perhaps over near Nashville. It's going to be 50-50, but by Tuesday afternoon, it's a better chance that the ice will melt by then. And then by Wednesday afternoon, temperatures are not really going to increase a whole lot, but most of central and southern Tennessee should be above freezing. We have another Arctic blast likely on Thursday, which means that Arctic air will spill back into the southeast, and that means that some areas might not be above freezing again for a couple of days. So hopefully the ice melts by Tuesday, if not by Wednesday. Otherwise, it could be a long stretch of weather there in the Nashville area. But from my understanding, at least most of the major highways are being treated with salt and other things just to make sure that, you know, ice doesn't accumulate, or at least is a prevention tool for it. But a lot of the side roads, a lot of those routes, those are still going to be covered over. One thing I do want to point out, and I know a lot of you are asking me about this, but should I travel this weekend? And I want to give you the most reasonable advice possible because it's more up to your risk tolerance when it comes to traveling. In my professional opinion, I do not recommend traveling really anywhere unless it's an emergency. You really shouldn't travel if you're in one of those zones that's going to see freezing rain, if you're going to see ice, if you're going to see significant snow. It's very dangerous. If you travel, you want to use extra caution. But I have a lot of questions that I've seen in the chat talking about this. But I do not possess any sort of skill or knowledge being able to tell you and your exact location in Nashville, in Dallas. If you want to travel, like, I just cannot give you advice on that because that's something that you need to figure out yourself. What is your risk tolerance when it comes to traveling? again, it's not my decision. That's something that you need to figure out. But if you don't want to drive on icy roads or wet roads, or have snow squalls moving through and heavy snows happening, then you should not be traveling. If you are fine with driving on an ice rink, if you're fine with driving with a lot of snow falling, then from there, you can go ahead and travel. But again, it's all up to you. I'm trying to give you like the best information possible right now to give you a decision here on whether you should even travel or just consider not traveling at all. Thank you also, Kat, for the $50 super chat. From Pittsburgh. Been watching since my best friend and I vacationed, or boyfriend, it was either one of the two. Vacation during Hurricane Milton. We love you, Max. Appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Hurricane Milton was one heck of a hurricane. All right, Riley has a update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey, Max, I was going to cover a little bit more on the potential travel impacts and what a few of our Department of Travels have been saying, as well as broader travel. So we actually do have some reports that are being sent in from people who work in DOT for various states. A lot of these places are already out there treating roads. The issue is they don't have a lot of, say, snow plows that can be outfitted to put down brine or even salt in general. So if you're anywhere from the northern United States, you're used to seeing this. You'll see those lines down the interstate and most other major highways. That is that brine, which is that salt water that they're putting down on the roads. That's not something that a lot of these southern states are able to do because they don't have the infrastructure in place to be able to go make that brine, spread that brine, and really get it out across a wide area like the northern states do. So they are trying their best to get the brine out there on the roads and pre-treat as much as possible, but that's not something that we're going to see happen in widespread areas. I know Dallas is doing an okay job of it. We've seen some additional reports from the Little Rock area where there are brine trucks out, but that's about all we have seen so far. And in order for this brine to really be effective, it has to be on there before the first drop of precipitation falls. Whether that's ice, rain, or snow, it has to be there before the roads get wet again. Otherwise, it's just going to run off and almost completely lose its effectiveness. A lot of public transportation sites or a lot of public transportation companies as well have been saying that they're probably going to be shut down at some point during this storm. I know Texas and Oklahoma, a lot of their larger transportation networks are saying we're expecting to pull public transportation, whether that be buses or taxis or any sort of public transportation, off the road before the storm gets here. They know it's going to be bad. We know it's going to be bad. There's no reason to go and put your drivers out in that scenario where you might end up hurting yourself or even worse, causing a major accident or some of the pileups like we've seen in the northern United States over the last few days. So that is still something that's happening. Another thing is we're seeing a lot of our major airlines, whether that be Delta, United, Southwest, American Airlines, JetBlue, Spirit, all of them have already put out that notification to travelers. If you're traveling in this area of the United States, expect delays. Airplanes can deal with snow, they can deal with rain, they cannot deal with freezing rain and ice. If there's freezing rain and ice, there will be almost a 100% chance that every single flight out of that airport gets canceled. You can't treat runways effectively when there's freezing rain. And it's not good for these planes to take off in those icing conditions either. You can do anything you want with the icing. It's not going to do anything when it comes to freezing rain. So expect widespread air delays anywhere in the country, honestly, because these planes obviously go to other airports as well. So any airplanes that are positioned in this sort of band of freezing rain and storm in general will not be able to get their way out and will not be going to on their next legs of the flights to anywhere else. So expect travel delays no matter how you're planning on traveling, whether that be public transportation, your own transportation, or flying. There's going to be a lot of travel issues all across the country, even outside of the areas that we're talking about right now.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. That is all great points. Somebody just said in the chat, I lost weight apparently. I don't think I have, but thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Nash, for the super chat. Worst period for Greenville, South Carolina. I think the worst period, if you're in like upstate North Carolina or South Carolina, or really anywhere in the Carolinas, will be on Sunday. It should be primarily beginning around the very late evening on Saturday, and then really being the worst during the daytime on Sunday. And then Monday, the snow will continue across the Northeast. Thank you, by the way, Stormfront Freaks for rating. I didn't know that. Didn't see that. Thank you. Thank you, Carson, for the $20 super chat. How much snow for Kansas City? So if we go over to the snowfall map here, I think Kansas City is not going to be looking at significant snowfall. But if you're over in like the Kansas City area, I think at least 3 to 5 inches is likely. Even if you don't see the main core of this winter storm, there will be some moisture on the north side that'll at least bring some light to maybe moderate snow at times. It'll be pretty isolated to widely scattered, but there will be some snow showers, so it should be enough to at least get you around 3 to 5 inches. I don't expect a major winter storm. I do not expect models to continue shifting north. I think this is kind of, going to be what it is. I mean, the snow again might shift south, and that would be the only difference for you guys, but outside of that, this is probably the furthest north our snow is going to go. We could see a small shift to the south tomorrow for sure. North shift is more unlikely at this point, but we'll have to wait and see on the model guidance tomorrow. Thank you, James, for becoming a member, and as well as Steel becoming a member. Tyler, Texas, how much snow? You guys are not going to see snow in Tyler. I think it's going to be almost all exclusively freezing rain. There's a very low chance. I mean, it'll be cold rain during Friday, but Saturday and into early Sunday, it'll be almost all freezing rain. If you saw snow, maybe a few flurries, maybe a coating. Like, I don't think there'll be any actual accumulation there, though. Apparently over near Lake Ontario, we're going to have some lake effect snow as well on the back side of this. So back over... or actually, before this even happens over in Lake Ontario, there will be around 16 to 24 inches of snow over here in upstate New York. That is going to be happening on Thursday and Friday. And then on the backside of this winter storm, more lake effect snow is expected up there on Monday and Tuesday. So areas near Lake Ontario will probably pick up more snow than any singular location from this winter storm over the next 7 days. There is a legit possibility of over 30 inches of snow within the next 7 days just from lake effect, which is pretty crazy. What are your thoughts on southeast New Mexico for freezing rain and snow? You guys are going to start as a cold rain on Friday. Saturday should transition into freezing rain, and then late Saturday, early Sunday, moderate to heavy snow. So you're going to have all three winter types, and there could even be some sleet. So you could have 4 different types of precipitation within 24 hours, which is going to be pretty crazy. There will be some locations, by the way. I mean, if we look at the map a little bit closely here, there will be some locations like Tulsa. I don't know about, maybe Tulsa, southeast Oklahoma, like Little Rock. You guys are probably going to see all 4 precipitation types. I'm talking rain, I'm talking sleet, I'm talking freezing rain, and snow. You will probably see all 4 at some point. So pretty crazy stuff there, for sure. DFW might even see all 4 as well. Abilene, Wichita Falls, all of those areas could see all 4 precipitation types. And keep in mind, freezing rain is literally just rain. It just freezes on contact or, after contact. So, I mean, freezing rain and rain are basically the same thing, just one freezes. So it's technically 3 types. Thank you, Floyd, for becoming a member. Thank you to Lee for the $10 super chat. Long Island, New York. I think New York and Long Island will be mostly a snow event to begin Sunday, and then by early Monday, there could be a transition into freezing rain. It's just too early to nail down specifics. I would be ready for both snow and ice. I don't think it's going to be, I mean, it could be one or the other, but I would not predominantly be set on just one single precipitation type for that area. Right now, the European model is showing a pretty good amount of snow for Long Island. We're talking possibly 6 to 10 inches, but I do want to point out again, there will likely be some freezing rain aspect this far to the north, even in New Jersey. I know I had somebody asking earlier. I've seen all sorts of different people saying different things for New Jersey. How much snow am I going to see? I would say at least 4 to 8 inches. It's just too early to really pinpoint exact numbers for any singular location. I mean, even Little Rock, like I know the European right now is showing 1 inch. We could easily see over 10 inches of snow as well. It just depends if there's any big shift tomorrow. So thank you, Karen, for becoming a member. Hey, Jacqueline, also for becoming a member. And as well as Graceland for the super chat. Hendersonville, North Carolina. I think all of North Carolina is going to be predominantly an ice accumulation event. I don't really see there being much snow. So if you're over near like Charlotte, for example, we'll be probably talking about over ½ an inch of ice accumulation out of this event with the cold air damming setup that's going to happen with this storm system. And then outside of that, closer to the coastline near Cape Hatteras, probably not going to see anything wintry. It'll be pretty much all rain. Unfortunately, though, for those that want snow in the Carolinas, this does not look like that kind of event. It looks like mostly an ice event in these areas. Hey, Lumbery for the super chat. How much can I expect in Alpharetta, Georgia? Roughly about a half an hour north of Atlanta. Anywhere near Atlanta is still a wild card. Again, it could just be all rain. There could be some ice associated with this, but I think right now, just be ready for an ice storm. There's a model shift tomorrow, and we're back to looking at ice. That could definitely, throw a big curveball into everything. Right now, European model's not showing much ice accumulation in that area, but that could definitely increase in the tomorrow time frame once we see the Hurricane Hunter recon data get implemented into models and all the models kind of, change and whatnot. They also tuning for the $20 super chat. What are the lower or higher end of the snowfall? I actually can show you guys a cool graphic. I'm going to show you guys a graphic that I think will really help you guys out when it comes to like the high and low end scenario of snowfall. Give me 1 second to pull this up. This is a good point. This person was asking about Fort Wayne in particular. And I can actually show you guys the high and low end of everything when it comes to snowfall. So let's go ahead and show you that. It's a pretty cool little tool, though. All right, so this is like the percent chance, essentially, of different snowfall amounts and all that. Let me zoom into just the Ohio Valley here for now. So this is essentially your probabilities. Again, the high ends of this are honestly kind of too low for some of these areas, but this is a pretty good idea of how much snow you could see and how much snow you might not see. So the left number is like the 10 percentile, basically meaning there's this is like the lower end spectrum of your snow. And then this would be a high end scenario. All right, so this is the low end. That's the 3 over near Louisville. And that's the high end. That's 12 inches. So this is the low and high ends. You can kind of take a screenshot if you want. Like Nashville right now is 0 to 6. So these are the ranges. This is kind of a cool little tool, though. This is the European ensemble point of view on this. Huge shout out to Brenda with the $100 super chat. No message at all. Really appreciate the support. Thank you so much, Brenda, for the $100 super chat. Thank you also, DNK, for the super chat. Are you even interested in adding a live cam for Nashville? I am. Yeah, we can definitely add it to our program for sure. Yeah, if you guys have any live cameras with this event, just send me an email and we can get that stuff set up. Thank you, Taylor, for the $20 super chat. What about Richmond, Virginia? Worried it'll be in the bullseye for ice. I truly think Richmond's going to see ice almost no matter what. I would say it's about an 80% chance you'll see ice in Richmond. It's just a matter of, is it going to be mostly ice or will it be mostly snow? All right, that's the biggest question everybody's asking right now from Dallas to the Mid-Atlantic. And that's a question that's hard to answer the further east you go. It's a lot easier over here where we're pretty much almost locked in at this point on seeing a pretty big ice storm in North Texas and Southern Oklahoma. But over here, the uncertainty grows. It's almost like a cone of uncertainty. In a way. I mean, we're almost talking about a hurricane. It's not a hurricane, obviously, but we're basically talking about a larger cone of uncertainty the further east we go because the storm track is more uncertain right now. So those areas are harder to predict, but I would be ready for the threat of an ice storm over here. I do think Richmond's probably going to lean more towards significant icing rather than significant snow. Thank you also, Hoop, for the gifted membership. Really appreciate that. If I've missed any super chats, I do apologize. There's a lot of them. Peter with the super chat asked about Galveston, Texas. That is a good question. We haven't talked really about Southeast Texas a whole lot. If you're back over in Galveston, if you're back over in Houston, I think it's going to be mostly rain. There could be a brief transition on Sunday to ice. Even if we don't see a transition to ice on Sunday, I am concerned that we could have a flash freeze on Sunday, which means that this rain continues and then there's no freezing rain, let's say. But a couple hours after the rain stops, we could have temperatures drop below freezing, which is expected to happen. That could freeze the roadways, and that could actually lead to icing on some roads, and in some cases, black ice. So Houston, Galveston, definitely an area that you still need to be paying attention to the weather. I wouldn't say go panic, go buy all the toilet paper in the world or all the liquor, whatever you're into at this point. Make sure that you're at least just ready for the potential here of ice. I don't think it's going to be an ice storm down there, though. This will not be as bad as 2021 in South Texas. This could be worse than 2021 for parts of Texas when it comes to the icing threat. The cold threat will not last as long, luckily, but still, there's a lot of other problems. Thank you, Lou, for the $50 super chat, and from Dallas, appreciate that. They might be for the super chat as well. Yeah, Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C., I think it's going to be a lot more snow than anything. Right now, we're sitting at probabilities of around 90% for over 6 inches of snow in those areas. In Washington, D.C., very far northern Virginia and southern Pennsylvania, I do think icing is going to be on the table as well, but it should be predominantly a threat of snow. A little bit of ice is possible, though. Hey, Peter, for the $20 super chat, thank you so much for that, brother. Appreciate that. We'll grab some firewood. There you go. Thank you also, Lisa, with the $8 PayPal donation. What's the opinion on the I-20 corridor through Louisiana? Yeah, I truly think the I-20 corridor here in Louisiana is going to be a mess on Saturday and Sunday. It'll probably be fine to begin the day, but the icing is going to get worse. They're probably going to treat I-20, but at the same time, I would not rely on driving on Saturday anywhere near this area because there's probably going to be a lot of drivers that aren't very good at driving. And if you try to get off on any side roads or anything, it could easily turn into a slip and slide. So anywhere along this route here, I do expect icing to happen. Again, how much ice is still kind of up in the air, but I do expect icing for most of the I-20 corridor here in Louisiana. Will there be power outages in Springfield? It's possible. I think tomorrow, or maybe tonight, but either tonight or tomorrow, we're going to make a graphic that shows you the probability of, or at least the possibility of power outages. That way you can understand better who has a more significant chance of losing power over someone else. If you have a bad power grid in general, you can almost undoubtedly expect losing power if you see any freezing rain, but you know, if you're in a good power grid area or just in general, the power doesn't go out very often, the chances are going to be a bit lower. But I mean, we're talking about possibly over an inch of ice accumulation. We're talking about over 12 inches of snow in some spots, and that could easily lose power for many of you. Some of these areas hardly ever see snow or ice like that. This could be one of the most major ice storms that we've had in 10 years, though, here across parts of the southern plains and the southeast. Also, the latest Rufus model runs coming in. I don't usually talk about the Rufus much for winter weather, but it is one of the only models right now that goes beyond 50 hours that shows hour-by-hour looks at freezing rain, snow, and all that. Interestingly enough, right now, it does show some pretty moderate to heavy freezing rain overnight, Friday into early Saturday morning in Arkansas, including Little Rock, and then DFW still not looking at freezing rain probably until the morning. So I'm going to kind of see what the Rufus shows here. It's still coming in. We also just got a new snow squall warning. I don't know where that is. I think the blizzard warnings just ended, so we're now into snow squall warnings back over near New York City right now. That goes for 43 minutes. This could be a problem, by the way, these like snow squalls. This right here is a snow squall that's happening near Buffalo and Rochester. These are very sharp lines of snow, essentially. Visibility goes from like, you know, normal visibility down to a quarter of a mile within seconds. And that's happening right now just east of Buffalo. I don't think that's gonna be a huge concern for most areas this weekend. It could be a possibility though, further off to the east once this winter storm gets closer to the mid-Atlantic. So just something to keep in the back of your mind if you have any travel plans, which again, do not recommend traveling. This is a look in terms of ice and ice amounts and what it means for your location. Might be a good idea to screenshot this graphic. But basically, if we see over a half of an inch of ice with pretty strong winds, which a lot of these areas, let me show you guys, let me pull up a wind map, so you guys have an idea of the wind as well. But basically, this is with ice and wind combined. If we have over half an inch of ice and wind gusts higher than 35 miles per hour, that can lead to catastrophic damage to utility systems, and that could literally lead to outages for several weeks in some areas. And that's one of the reasons why I'm continuing to stress how important it is to be ready for this winter storm. Because if we were to see over half an inch or an inch of ice, like this is going to lead to catastrophic problems. If you look at the wind map here, let me go over to the European model. And so look at the winds throughout Saturday and Sunday. They're not going to be terrible, but they will be strong enough. We're talking about 20 to 35 miles per hour. By the way, the bottom right camera of your screen, that is inside of the snow squall warning. You can basically see nothing. That's an idea of what a snow squall looks like. But yeah, again, winds across the board. Illinois, back into Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas. We're talking about widespread winds and wind gusts around 20 to 40 miles per hour. That's, pretty significant what we're talking about there. Tennessee, northern Alabama. And this could all knock out power even faster. Again, look at the numbers here. I mean, it only really requires about an inch of ice, and 15-mile-per-hour winds are stronger to create catastrophic damage to utility systems. Prolonged and widespread power outages are likely. I mean, this is probably going to be the range that we're talking about for this weekend from Dallas-Fort Worth back into the Carolinas. Winds will probably be around 15 to 25 miles per hour for most areas. So it's going to take around a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice to actually see prolonged and widespread utility impacts. But that is on the table. I can't stress that enough. That is literally a possibility this weekend. Slot 1, the camera on the bottom right of your screen, that is also inside of the snow squall warning. Hey, Alicia for the super chat. What do you think about Washington, D.C.? Washington, D.C. should be mostly a snow event. I think 4 to 8 inches of snow at least, maybe more. Thank you, Taryn, for the $10 super chat. Can you talk about West Virginia's impacts, specifically Morgantown? I think for most of West Virginia, and this is primarily in this corridor, it's going to be almost all snow. We could have some ice accumulation on the eastern half, including Morgantown, but I think predominantly we're talking about snow for Morgantown, Clarksburg, back through Charleston. Widespread 4 to 8 inches of snow is likely. Again, some localized areas can be a little bit higher than that. A little bit of ice accumulation on the southern side of the state, it's likely, though. They also, Jay, for the $10 super chat. Just north of Columbus, how much snow? I'm only expecting maybe 2 to 3, maybe 2 to 4 inches. I don't think the trends that we're seeing right now in computer models are going to last entirely. And even if they did, for areas like Ohio, I don't think we're going to be talking about that significant of snow. Right now, the European model shows like 7 to 8 inches for Columbus and just north. I don't think the totals are going to stay that high. I think it's going to drop again tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see. If things change, you're probably only going to see 2 to 3 inches, right? But if they stay this way, there's a better shot, essentially, of you seeing over 5, 6, 7 inches of snow. But as I've already alluded to, things are going to change tomorrow. We'll have much better data and a much better idea of what's actually going to happen in these areas tomorrow once we get the high resolution models in. We're just kind of awaiting all of that. And again, very few high resolution models have even come in yet. The Rufus is the closest one, and I really don't trust the Rufus that much for winter weather. It's a very new model. But at this point, it at least does show, I mean, basically what all the other models are showing, at least through Saturday morning. The timestamp's on the bottom right of your screen. This is 1 a.m. Saturday, and it shows a large batch of freezing rain, snow, and sleet happening from the Texas Panhandle all the way back into Little Rock. Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Just actually covering this snow squall real quick because we're seeing a little bit of an interesting phenomenon here. For those of you who don't know, snow squalls are basically or generally considered convective, meaning that there is a little bit more upwards motion like you'd normally see with a thunderstorm in this. And speaking of thunder, that is actually what we're seeing. So over here on the Radar Omega app, if you see these pluses, there's one over here near Pembroke, and there's also one further south here near Arkwright. These are lightning strikes, and these are these are happening due to the friction sort of along this front that you can see, where we have so much snow running together that it just pops, and it does the same thing that hail and rain does in a lightning cloud, makes lightning. So this is thunder snow that we have going. So if you're in this snow squall warning right now and you hear thunder, you're not crazy. It's not a snow plow. It's probably thunder snow.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. So we have thunder snow in New York right now. And I know many of you are probably wondering, will we see thunder snow in the south this weekend? Probably not. A very low chance of some thunder snow. We need some key ingredients, and one of those is obviously instability. Let me go over to map here. Oh, I'm on the right map. Right screen. All right, let me go over to here. So we basically need instability. We need something there, right, for thunder snow. And I don't really think we're gonna have much thunder snow potential this weekend. There might be a little bit in Oklahoma. Let me go over to like the European model, for example. We'll go to most unstable Cape. And there really is not going to be a whole lot of instability. There might be a chance of thunder snow somewhere over in Arkansas Saturday night. All right, there might be. If you see a flash outside, it might not be a transformer blowing up. It actually might be thunder snow. Basically when lightning happens when it's snowing. And it does not happen very often. But there might just be enough over here for there to be something like that. There could also be a world where we have, you know, thunder freezing rain, thunder sleet. That's entirely possible over here. So, yeah. It's not a very high chance of seeing that, but I do think it's at least on the table with how intense the storm system will be as well. But, yeah. If you see thunder snow, definitely make sure, if you have a camera, have that ready to go. You might have a chance of seeing thunder snow this weekend. Look at the snow plows, bottom right of your screen. That cam slot too. One. We got snow plows that just went by. This is over in New York where we have snow squalls currently going through. This is what it's going to look like in about 2 days over in the south. That is inside of a snow squall warning. Saw that a second ago. All right, let's go back over to... Let me fix this real quick. We'll do that. I'll get rid of this camera. It's a good thing that we're doing a live stream today, by the way. And I mean, I was planning on doing this for the last couple of days, but it's a good idea that we did one because we have had already some technical difficulties, and it's better to get them out of the way now rather than when we're going live for 50 hours this weekend with severe weather coverage. And as a reminder, if you are new to the channel, we are going to be live for upwards of 50 hours this weekend, so please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell icon so you're notified. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at MaxVelocityWX. Just reminding you, because again, we are going to be live for upwards of 50 hours over the next, like, 5 days. I mean, it's going to be a marathon stretch of streaming, so... Just want to get that out there in case you are new to the channel and you want to watch our live weather coverage when we are doing actual coverage. I know we're doing a lot of forecasting right now. This is more to get you prepared. I mean, get you in the mindset that, hey, there's actually a big winter storm coming. And it's a great idea. If you have any friends or family, share the stream with them. If you're just tuning in and want a full-blown, very detailed forecast, you can watch the very beginning of the stream too. I mean, we've gone over so many things already. And we are going to continue to answer your questions and go over stuff throughout the rest of the stream tonight. But it's a good idea. You know, if you have friends or family in the path of this, definitely get the word out there. Again, I am a degreed meteorologist. I got my degree back in May of 2025, and we've been doing this for years now here on YouTube, and we're going to continue to provide you the best weather information we possibly can. We have an entire team of people as well. In case you're wondering, it used to just be me for a while. We now have Riley, obviously. We have an entire back-end team doing social media stuff. We have people making graphics, developing stuff while we're live too. I mean, we have an entire team now, so this is a very large effort. It's not just me that's doing everything. And so huge props also to the people on the back end. Put some like W's in the chat for them or claps in the chat. Again, there's a lot of people on the back end that help us out here now with everything. I mean, we have an entire production basically now. I mean, this has turned in from just a solo weather page into literally a almost news station type, you know, production in a way. I mean, we're not obviously a news station, but we, you know, have a pretty large production now of people and stuff. We have employed dozens of not just chasers, but also employees on the back end as well. We have over a dozen storm chasers that we have employed, and on top of that, you know, people here that are helping us on the back end. Thank you, Holly, with the $10 super chat. How much snow and ice for Branson, Missouri? I think Branson's gonna be almost all snow. I don't expect a whole lot of ice there, maybe a thin glaze of ice, but outside of that, it's gonna be all snow. This is a pretty good estimate for snowfall right now for Missouri. So southern side of the state, 6+ inches of snow is what we're expecting there. Thank you, Mighty, for the $50 super chat. Must have missed my 8-month chat. The chat is flying. I think you've covered everything except the risk factor for trampolines and trash cans in the path of this storm. You know, you bring up a good point. We actually have not done that. We have not brought up the trash can meter or anything like that. We haven't done that in a while. There hasn't really been much of a reason to. See if I can find that. But in general, I mean, we're not going to have that many flying trash cans or trampolines because, I mean, at the end of the day, everything's gonna get iced over in Texas and Arkansas, or even the trash cans might get iced to the road if they're out there, or trampolines. So they might not even go flying. The ice might just be too heavy. But in my honest opinion, like, that's not gonna be a big concern. I mean, the winds are only gonna be about 20 to 30 miles per hour at peak, so probably not gonna see a whole lot. Apparently there's a car in the ditch on that first camera. Let me go over to that. We have a car in the ditch right now. This is from the snow squall. Car in the ditch. Actually, two. We got 2 cars in the ditch right now. This is in western New York near Buffalo. We got some pretty intense snow squalls moving through right now. Pretty interesting stuff there. All right, let's go through some of your reports. Again, a lot of you guys have been sending in photos and videos, and so we're going to go ahead and go through some of those. Again, this is kind of just preparation stuff. If you have photos and videos, you can send them in. It's the second to top link in the description below. It's also reports.maxvelocitywx.com. All right, so if you want to send in photos and videos of stuff you're doing right now to prepare for this winter storm, if you want to send us photos of grocery stores, ways that, you know, things are happening right now, like, send them in. This is Cam in Greenville County, South Carolina. Ready for the apocalypse. There you go. This is in Nashville from the Hood family. Propane grill on the porch if it gets rough. That's a good idea. Looks like a good fridge to me. A lot of food for Matthew in Sandy Springs, Georgia. Lily in Walker County, Georgia has a lot of breakfast. What is that? A chicken fried rice breakfast skillet? What is that? Is that just rice? I don't know what that is, but a lot of whatever that is from Mountain Home. Got some beef jerky. That is a really cool look here over at Fort Wayne, Indiana. Got a plow in front of a Jeep Wrangler. Oh, it's a freeze-dried meal. All right, thank you. Thank you, Marcy, for becoming a member. This is in Oklahoma City. You might have to get more milk. You're down to 2 half. Why do we have 2 open gallons of milk? What's going on here? Or is that water? It looks like milk. I think this person has 2 different milk jugs open. Both of them are half drinking it. Where's the lid to your whipped cream? Where is the lid to the whipped cream? Where'd you put it? I need to find that. Is that an open jar of pickles at the top? What are we doing in this fridge? Am I tripping? That looks like an open jar. Oh, maybe it is. Okay, that's not. I was about to say, if there's an open jar of pickles in this fridge, there's a lot of concerns that I have for the rest of whatever's going on in this kitchen. Thank you, Hoop, for the $10 super chat. This is a stacked fridge in Forney, Texas. Thank you, Bang, for becoming a member, and also Birch for the super chat. Yeah, I don't see anything too concerning there. Large watermelon in there, too. I haven't had watermelon in so long. Got some alcohol in Anna, Texas. Got the essentials. Got some milk. This looks good to me. Fridge is locked and loaded. The new market in Virginia. I've seen things from 5 to 10 inches to 15 to 18 inches. Guys, if you're seeing like 20, 30 inches of snow in your location on social media, I want to be honest, like, that is just, it's almost impossible to forecast the highest totals right now because the models keep shifting. Just go with the conservative numbers. Do not try to go off of what the people are saying, like 20, 30 inches. Like, that is just unrealistic right now. We cannot lock in any number like that anywhere. It's just not possible. Models have shifted so much. That's a lot of candles. We've got candles galore, portable chargers, and everything. Stevens County, Georgia. Georgia is ready. I've seen a lot of you guys from Georgia ready to go for this. Atlanta, Georgia's ready. That's a lot of paper towels. What do you need so many paper towels for? Like, I mean, toilet paper, I get. Paper towels, I'm not sure what you need all these for, but that's in Vicinities, Indiana. I kind of like bought out the entire Walmart. Got all sorts of stuff here. A bunch of prep stuff, essentials over in Tennessee. Wait, that was toilet paper? Oh. Okay, never mind. That did not look like toilet paper. Those were like in weird stacks. Good to know, thanks. I can't read. Got Blue Bunny ice cream. Nice. Got a fish tank. The fish are ready. Gary the Snail. Bro, this guy has a SpongeBob like set here. This is actually cool. It's over in Indiana. Frogs are ready. That is a lot of groceries. The only thing I could see out of this entire thing, the first thing I saw was the Dr. Pepper. Making sure us and the animals have enough. There you go. That's good. Yeah, and again, if you have any pets, make sure you bring them inside for this winter storm. Amber over in North Carolina with an entire pantry with Cheez-Its, Taco Bell. I'm not sure why there's a random Taco Bell bag in your pantry, but interesting. Got a dog watching over in Kansas. And in Greer, South Carolina, this looks like a Walmart. Shelves are empty, so there's no bread left at this store. It looks like in South Carolina. Been stocking up for 5 years for this. 5? This person in Missouri has been stocking up for 5 years for a winter storm. My goodness. Another thing I just realized, we don't even have this properly cropped in. There we go. This is from, this is in Sissonville, West Virginia. Drink is filled, 6 extra cases of water, 9 cases of pop. Juice box for the kiddos in a pantry, and is Sam's Club stocked. Last time we had a storm hit like this in West Virginia, the power was out for a month. That is a long time. They have their generator ready as well. This is the bread over in Franklin County, Nebraska. Oh, this actually at the local grocery store in Clarksville. Location's wrong there. This is in Clarksville, Tennessee on Wednesday at 3:30. That is a lot of bread. That's actually a lot of bread comparatively to what we've been seeing from a lot of you guys. As far as I'm concerned, I think you're the best meteorologist that I've found. It's probably because I'm showing you all the crazy fridges that some people have. Some of these are really good. Some of them have been questionable though. This is that okay? That's bath tissue. All right, we got this one right. That's not paper towels and a lot of water. That person bought out half of the Walmart stock over in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Hey, Anthony, what are we watching my stream on? What? Are we back in the 1990s? Bro, what is this TV? Hey, awesome blocks for becoming a Maximum Velocity member. Now, this is impressive, I gotta say. I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you pulled this off, but this is impressive. This is on a CRT TV. This is from Rebecca over in Graham, North Carolina. Pantry is stocked. There you go. Goldfish. I like that. We got a cat in the fridge. It's in Du Bois County, Indiana. Max Velocity said he's ready. There's no way you named your cat Max Velocity. There's just no way. If you named your cat Max Velocity, that is lit. Another stocked up area there in Little Rock. All sorts of beer. That is a lot of beer. This guy, how much milk do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 gallons of milk in here. And there might be another one behind this header. This guy's 5 gallons of milk in Greenville, Texas. And that is a lot of beer. I hope you got a family of 20, because my goodness, there's just no way you're drinking 5 gallons in the next week and a half. It's in Wood County from Chicken Little. Interesting name. Is that a dragonfly in your wall? What kind of decoration is that? Dude, there's some interesting photos in here, I gotta say. Hey, plenty of liquor in Memphis. If you need liquor, plenty of liquor over here. It's on Summer Avenue, apparently. plenty of liquor. Keep in mind, we do have a little liquor graphic here. There is a high demand of liquor right now. From Texas back in the mid-Atlantic and Wisconsin, like normal. Hey, Hoop for the $10 super chat. Also, Rick for the $5 super chat. Richmond, Virginia should be mostly an ice threat. But snow is still definitely on the table. It's just going to come down to what the models show tomorrow. I think tomorrow will give us a lot more certainty on what to expect, but definitely prepare for ice, for sure. This is Mike. Cat is watching. Oh, the cat is like pawing at the freezing rain. You know, Cheese Curd, my cat, is actually in here right now. She's on her tower. I still gotta get the Cheese Curd cam set up. Cans are running out fast. It's over in Mabank, Texas. This is the beginning of last year in Gaylord, Michigan. This is what it could look like in Arkansas and Texas, by the way, on Saturday and Sunday. Like, it could look like this. That's why it's important right now to make sure that you are preparing. You know, all jokes aside with everything we've been talking about here, like, it's a very good idea to make sure that you are preparing for a pretty dangerous winter storm here across the south and the southeast. This is one of the reasons why we could literally look like that here in a couple days in Texas and Oklahoma and many other states. Filling up, that's over in Mississippi. This is in McKinney, Texas. In the top left, is that pretzels in the fridge? I don't know what's going on here. Got an open pineapple. That's okay. Interesting. A lot of green in there. A lot of vegetables. This is from Ryan in Roanoke, Virginia. Hopefully the power doesn't go out. No generator. I hope that's lemonade on the left. That's a lot of meat there. And it looks like pizza, some ice. This is over in West Tennessee in Chester County. That is a lot of chili that's gone. Everybody's making chili this week. Now, the real question, you need to let me know in the chat. Beans or no beans for chili? Let me know what your take is on that in the chat. Bread aisle in Muskogee, Oklahoma. There's no bread. Everyone's getting water. And are we getting ice? Yeah, I mean, ice is possible in Georgia. I would say it's right now 50-50. I'm leaning towards there at least being a little bit of ice in northern Georgia. It's going to be a close call, though, in terms of an ice storm right now. We'll know more again tomorrow for sure. And we'll have a video bright and early tomorrow. We'll have probably 2 videos tomorrow, so make sure you stay tuned for those. It's from Chris in Muskogee, Oklahoma. The eggs aisle is chalked. This is in Henderson, Kentucky. Not even 2 to 3 days out, and the Walmart in Henderson, Kentucky is already out of milk. Yeah, that's crazy. Wow, this person in Round Rock, Texas. I don't know where your food's at. I mean, if you're gonna live off of, I don't even see an egg in there. I don't know if you're ready for this. Bro has 25 bottles of water. I don't know if that's AG1. I don't know what that is. And then we got a couple eggs, maybe. 2 eggs for an entire week. There you go. Kroger aisle in Little Rock, Arkansas. Got hand warmers. I'm going to skip through a few of these. We got only a few more left here. Yeah, if you want to send in photos and videos, it is the second to top link in the description below. It's at reports.maxvelocitywx.com. Rockwall, Texas. That's the HEB, or HEB, I think it is. No milk really there either. Ranger is ready for the snow. Nice. Me and my pet fish are ready. It's over in Mentor, Ohio. There you go. We've had a couple people send in fish. The craziest thing today was the goose. This is a stacked fridge. Is that a gnome on the bottom left? What is going on in here? This guy is at Friendly's Ice Cream, which I didn't even know Friendly's still existed, to be honest. And then we got a bunch of Coca-Cola cans. Thank you, Ha, for the $5 Venmo donation. I appreciate that. Hey, you know we're talking about a big winter storm when we got Fortnite leaks liking my tweets about this winter storm. If you guys didn't see this, by the way, today, this is pretty crazy. Wait, what was on 304? Oh, that's 305 for me. Oh, this is actually interesting. This is sent in on 305. This is another report. This is from Howard County, Maryland. How in the world? How are we watching my stream on whatever that is? I'm not old enough to know what that is. What are we watching my stream on? This is historic. Might be the first ever. By the way, in case you guys didn't see this today, it was pretty cool. We made it onto the Pat McAfee show. This is a very popular sports show. Earlier today for our exploding tree risk. And there is a possibility, I don't know for sure, I've been contacted, but I might be on the Pat McAfee show tomorrow. So I will let you guys know on socials if that does happen, but I've been in contact with them. So I didn't even know I was on it until like an hour after it happened, but I was on it a couple times today. But I might be live on there tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. I'll keep you posted. I'll probably know tomorrow. We got a few more photos. That is a lot. What is that? Energy drinks? Or is that beer? Freezer is... Wow, that's a lot of stuff in the freezer. Hopefully it doesn't go bad. Hopefully you keep your power. Got plenty of ice cream. We got a lot of ice cream people here. All you need to ride out a storm in your 20s from James in Chatham County. Fireball, saltine crackers, bread, and ravioli. Wow. Now that is an elite setup. Hey, Alicia for the $20 super chat. Yeah, I'll go over Tulsa in a minute. Tulsa will be mostly starting as ice, and then it'll turn into snow. I wish the thing wasn't cut out. I wish the header wasn't there at the top. Oh, actually, can I remove that? Oh, I can remove that. There you go. Forgot about that. The W meme. Fully prepared. Bro, what are we doing over there in St. Francis County in Arkansas? We do not need 16 bottles of ketchup for this storm. I don't know if ketchup is just your diet, but oh my goodness. That is the most ketchup I've ever seen one person occupy ever. I mean, are we... That is insane. Holy crap! Bro, who's buying all the milk? What are you doing with this milk? Who is Andrew in Maryland? Andrew, what are we doing? I need a story. Why do you have 24 gallons of milk? I have serious questions. Like, I don't know what you need all this milk for. I am in absolute shock. Sell them more. Sell them for more, bro. There's no way we're trying to gouge gallons of milk for people. I mean, there's just no way in the big 2026 we're doing that. $10 pounds of oatmeal in Arkansas. My goodness. Bro, what is going on? Why do we have so much butter in this fridge? In Tennessee, I just don't understand. Like, well, who needs 24 sticks of butter? Hey, Metallic for the $20 super chat. You know how distilled water can stay liquid and below freezing temperatures and you tap it, immediately returns into ice. What would happen if you drank some before it froze? It would be fine because it's going into your body and your body's warmer than the outside. This is the most normal looking fridge I think I've seen today, right here. I think this might be the most normal looking fridge. What in the world? There's no way this is real. I'm getting off that photo. Not storm prep, just regular Wisconsin things. Is that your fridge? Why do you have so much Kraft mozzarella? I'm really concerned about the milk, the butter, and the cheese person here. I get you're in Wisconsin. I get cheese is a big thing there, but like, that is a lot of cheese. We got slices on end. Eggs are almost gone in Kroger. That's in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Shelves are bare in Ashland, Kentucky. All canned up. That's a great look. I mean, that's a great looking pantry. Ready for the snow and ice in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Nice. Packed pantry. Nice. A lot of stuff in the pantry. That is a huge pantry. That is like a massive pantry. Jeez. It's a lot of Diet Coke. We have 25 packs of Diet Coke. Oh my goodness. Apparently one of these other ones coming up is worse. I'm going to try to get through some of these. There's some really bad ones apparently coming up. For the record, you guys can't see the number, but we have currently 359 different photos that are in our reports program, which again, you can submit them with the second to top link in the description. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, we're currently on 342 out of 359, and a lot of you guys are still sending in stuff. Ready to snowboard over in Virginia. All right, there's one. 353 is bad. We're 4 away from it. Stocked up. That looks like a good fridge. Hey, Q in Harris County, Texas. What are we doing? I mean, you have to be a business owner. There's just no way we have this much cheese. There's just no shot. Hey, Loreno for the $50 super chat. Congrats on graduating, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the generosity. Cholesterol's through the roof. It's actually funnier that there's beer down here on top of the cheese. Is that a Panera Bread microwavable mac and cheese too? Do we have mac and cheese on top of cheese? Okay, there's just no way that's real. There's just no way whatever that is real. Got my autographed Max Velocity hat. This one we hit 500,000 subscribers. I think there's 500 out there, 250. I can't remember how many we sold, but those are limited edition signed hats. I'll do a few more, then we'll go back to the weather stuff. I have a stacked freezer. I low-key want one of those ice cream cones. You should give me one. I'm speechless. Bro, what is this? Why? This is in Florida. There's just no way this is real. Bro, what is going on? There's just no way we have that many eggs sitting in our fridge. That has to be a store. There's just no way. That's in New Mexico. I'm concerned that some of these are actually, I think maybe one or two of these are AI, but like some of these I'm concerned are actually real. And the fact that any of you have this, like, I truly think some of you are crazy enough to have that much milk and whatnot. Like, I just don't know how that's even possible. If you want to send in photos and videos, QR code's on your screen. There's a link also at the top of the description. Wow, I have really felt differently about what you guys have in your fridge. Did not know it was this bad. We learn new things every day, but man, some of you guys need to get some help with those fridges. My goodness. We have an extreme cold watch that was just issued in Texas. All of North Texas is now included in extreme cold watch. All right, let me pull up weather alerts here. Let's put that on. I mean, it's on here. Winter. All right, extreme cold watch. I actually don't see it popping up, but there's now an extreme cold watch that was just issued. It essentially includes all of this part of Texas right here. So this entire stretch, dangerous cold wind chills, 5 to 10 degrees below zero is likely Saturday evening through Monday morning. So a very long stretch of cold air is expected. So get ready for that. Again, winter storm watches are in effect all the way from the mid-Atlantic back into New Mexico. It's a very large area that we're talking about. I had somebody ask about Tulsa, and I also saw Memphis. I'm going to talk about those first, and then we'll go back into questions and stuff like that. This is not the right graphic. Let me go over to here. All right, so I had some people asking about Memphis. I had, that's the wrong screen. I had Memphis, and I had Tulsa in the chat. Let me talk about those first. So if you're in Tulsa, we're expecting ice to start, and that should start sometime during the daytime on Friday. Here's a high resolution model to give you an idea of that. So freezing drizzle is possible through about 3 or 4 o'clock on Friday, which is 3 to 4 p.m. That's going to be light stuff, but it can still lead to ice accumulation by then. So roadways that aren't treated will be very slippery. By 6 to 7 o'clock is when our heavier precipitation is going to roll in. So that'll be mostly freezing rain and sleet. And then eventually, as we go into the evening hours, sleet into snow is expected near Tulsa. Northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, we're expecting some pretty significant snow and ice throughout the daytime on Saturday. And then freezing rain should really become a concern Saturday night into Sunday, stretching from Texas back into Tennessee. The Rufus model is very interesting here. This is a high-res model. This is the latest run. It's the 00Z model run. It shows everything further north in general, which is not a good thing if this scenario pans out for Little Rock, for Nashville, southern Kentucky like Bowling Green, we'd be talking about a much more major ice storm for those areas. I think if you're east of the Appalachians, it really doesn't matter where you are in this area. You're probably going to see freezing rain, at least in this area, like North Carolina, South Carolina, and that is all because of our cold air damming effect that's going to happen over there. But elsewhere, like, we might have enough of a warm sector here as we go into Sunday for there to be a possibility of just straight up rain for most of Georgia and Alabama. But it's still kind of up in the air again. Things could shift to the south again, but at least giving you an idea here that this is probably what we're going to see here as we go into Saturday and Sunday. This is a general idea of what it's going to look like by 5 o'clock on Saturday. Timestamps bottom right of your screen. Hey, Brady, for the $10 super chat. Hendersonville, North Carolina, significant ice storm with outages. I do think North Carolina is going to have most of the state, other than like the very far eastern half of the state, including like Cape Hatteras. I think almost all of North Carolina is going to pick up on some significant ice accumulation. Real quickly before we go back into this, somebody just sent this in. This is from Jake over in Connecticut. Drake May will protect New England from the storm. Hey, I'm a big Patriots fan, and so Sunday, I kind of hope I can just watch the game on Sunday. I don't think I'll be able to, but Patriots play the Broncos. Hopefully we go to the Super Bowl. I'm nervous about that game. If we're live on Sunday, I might have the game pulled up on one of my other monitors on a different computer, because I cannot miss that. I'm a huge Patriots fan. Used to live in New Hampshire, so there's a reason. Thank you, for the super chat. I know the storm's changing like crazy, and Texas can be wild. How are we looking at Sherman, Texas? I think Sherman, Texas is going to start to see ice accumulation as we go on a Saturday morning. Friday should be fine, but Saturday, I mean, I'm surprised your boss is even having to go into work, because I don't think it's going to be safe out there. But freezing rain is going to start in Sherman and right along the Red River by Saturday morning. So please, again, if you can't avoid the roadways, definitely try to avoid the roadways. It's going to be dangerous out there in areas like that. Hey, Whiskey for the $10 super chat. Heading to Galveston from Kansas. How far west do we have to go to get around this stuff? I'm not sure if you're going to be able to avoid it. I'm not sure what day you're going either. I mean, if you're going on the weekend, it's different. If you're going on Wednesday of next week, it's also different. If you want to avoid it entirely, you would probably have to do something like this. I'm not even kidding. Like, you would have to probably go into Mexico to actually avoid the ice, because almost every area here is going to see some sort of freezing rain risk. Your best shot would be taking the most southern route, like over here on the, I believe it's Highway 90. But even then, like, I don't know if there's going to be a viable solution to get to the west without you running into some sort of freezing rain. If you leave tonight or tomorrow, it makes a difference. Like, you might not have anything during that time period. But if you leave on Saturday or Sunday, you're going to have problems. But again, I really can't advise on travel stuff. I'm just creating a forecast for all of you. So if you have travel plans, or if you want to travel, that way you actually get advice from me on like what the weather is going to look like out there. I cannot tell you exactly though if you're going from Houston to Oklahoma City tomorrow. Like, I mean, I can say like it's not going to really get bad until Friday, but at the same time, like, I cannot give you advice really on how the impacts are going to be if you're traveling from X to Z. Or X to Y to Z. Like, it's hard for me to do that, because like there's so many factors. Depends when you leave. It depends on your risk tolerance of traveling during a winter storm like this as well. So again, just keep in mind, bear with me. Like, I cannot get everybody, you know, that type of information. It's something that you kind of have to basically conclude based off of what I'm telling you or what other sources are telling you. Thank you, Toaster, for the $20 super chat. Snow total is likely around the St. Louis metro area. I would expect in St. Louis probably right around 4 to 8 inches. That's the range I'm thinking right now. A little bit on the higher side, but I think 4 to 8 inches is realistic right now. If you're further south, that's where the highest totals will be. Keep in mind, we sell cars. The person is going to work in Sherman on Saturday at 8:30. And he's going to be selling cars on Saturday. Who's buying cars and ice? I don't know. I mean, like, there's just no way somebody's buying a car on Saturday in Sherman. Hey, Whiskey, for the $10 super chat. It's exactly what I need leaving Saturday. Thanks for pretty much where I was thinking. Yeah, that'd probably be your best bet. But again, you'd have to check and make sure that road's actually salted over and treated. Thank you, Will, for the super chat. How much snow are we expecting in Pittsburgh? Early estimations right now for Pittsburgh are going to be around 6 to 10 inches of snow. Again, things could change, but I do think it's going to be much more significant here across parts of the Northeast on Sunday. Wichita Falls, Texas. My phone says 12 to 15 inches. Is that accurate? Probably not. No. I would be shocked if you even saw 8 inches of snow in Wichita Falls. I would say Wichita right now. I mean, or Wichita Falls, Texas. I would expect probably in the ballpark of like 4 to 8 tops right now. I think right along the Red River Valley of North Texas, I think these totals will be a little bit higher. Like, I think Sherman could be closer to 6 or 7 inches of snow, and I'm not saying that to do the 6-7 thing. That's back in 2025, but like 6-7 inches of snow will be realistic there. Again, totals could definitely change, but I think right there along the Red River will probably be in the 4 to 8 range. Thank you, Lax, for becoming a member. Thank you, Leech, for the super chat. Instructions unclear. I saw the pink on the radar and accidentally brought a snowplow for my Miata. Thank you for the super chat. Real quickly, I do want to remind you that today's stream is brought to you by Accurite. This is our brand new weather station and weather accessory sponsor. You can check this out with the top link in the description below. And keep in mind, with this website that you go to on the top link in the description below, it brings you to my landing page, which has all sorts of details on me and all of the people that we work with, like Storm Intermedia, Connor Croft, Riley Dibble as well. And it gives you the recommended products that we recommend in terms of having your own weather setup at your own house. There's weather stations that they sell. These are all very affordable as well. They have portable lightning detectors that can come in very big handy for golfing. They have these really cool anemometers as well that you can have. You can measure the wind and temperature outside. And during this winter storm, we'll be looking for like photos and videos of stuff like this outside so we can actually see what the actual conditions are out there. So if you want to check this out, it's the top link in the description below. You can use code MAX10 to get 10% off at checkout. And one of the more interesting things too is Riley actually has a weather station set up in Minnesota, and one of the Accurate weather stations, and we'll be able to see what the wind chills are actually outside, because the weather stations they have do measure the wind chills, and they are expected to get to as low as 60 degrees below zero in parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin. So we'll see that on one of these live streams and see how cold it actually gets. And yeah, definitely make sure to check out Accurate. And again, they are a brand new sponsor on our channel. We would not be able to do everything that we do here on this channel without them and all of our other amazing sponsors. So please make sure to check them out, give them some support, and definitely check out their products. And these are great products that they have, and this anemometer in general. Also, another cool thing, by the way, this anemometer that they have, there's actually a flashlight on it. So they have like a little flashlight. So this is not just a weather tool, but it can actually be used as a flashlight if you lose power. So, but again, use code MAX10 at checkout for 10% off on any purchase. Hey, Cylindro for the $20 super chat. For those wondering about exploding trees, let me go to my exploding tree graphic before I read this out. Yes, exploding trees are a possibility this weekend. I just lost the message. Exploding trees. Water expands when it freezes. Trees are full of water. Water in the tree freezes. Tree splits open, maybe with a loud crack, but it's not an explosion. It sounds like a gunshot. That's where explosive trees comes from. It basically sounds like a gunshot or a very loud sound. It happens a lot during the very cold periods of time that we have in the northern plains and the upper Midwest. Did Max get a haircut recently? I did. I'm almost bald. I need my hair to grow back because this is not the haircut I wanted. Thank you, William, for the $20 super chat. I used to live in Miami and I bought a new car during a 65-mile-per-hour tropical storm. I was the third person they had all day, and they gave me a 10% discount because of the weather. Pays to buy a car in bad weather. Very interesting. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Karen, for the $10 super chat. I think there's a difference, though, between Miami having a 65-mile-per-hour tropical storm and then the South having an ice storm that's going to literally shut down roads and stuff for possibly days and knock out power for days, too. I think there's a pretty big difference there. By the way, according to the statistics, we at least have over 1,300 people on this stream that have checked out Accurate. So make sure to go check it out. Definitely check out their products. They have rain gauges and all sorts of other cool stuff, too. Weather stations, weather anemometers, all that cool stuff. It's, again, the top link in the description. Somebody in the chat is asking, snow, sleet, or ice for Clarksville, Tennessee? I think it'll be mostly ice. Sleet is definitely on the table, but it should be mostly freezing rain, which freezing rain is the most dangerous freezing precipitation there is. Is your hair AI? It is not. I wish I could make my hair longer with AI. I mean, that'd be great, because my hair is way too short. Thank you, Carrie, for the super chat. How bad is Michigan going to get? Michigan won't be too bad. Light snow, maybe some moderate snow in near Detroit, but we're not going to have any major impacts up there with this. Could be some lake effect snow, though, early Monday, which would be the worst thing. Thank you for the $20 super chat. 50 hours live needs more than Wawa meal. Shout out to Max, Riley, and the team. Appreciate that. Yeah, we will need a lot. I'm going to need a lot of food, a lot of liquid. I mean, again, we're going to be live for over 50 hours. I'm going to have to get cases of water literally tomorrow because I have almost no water right now. And so for all the live streams that we're going to do, we're going to need a lot of water, a lot of food. We're talking about a marathon of streaming over the next few days. Thank you, Patricia, for the $10 super chat. Long Island, New York. My guess is 8 inches, although local news predicts 18 inches. 18. Who in the world is predicting 18 inches of snow right now in Long Island? I mean, I'm not ruling it out, but man, that's early to say that. I think at least 6 inches for Long Island. At least. Undoubtedly 6 inches. I don't know about 18 yet. I mean, the European model right now is ballparking around 6 to 10 inches right now, but I mean, those numbers will probably go up tomorrow. Hey, Crazy, for the super chat. I missed snow. Texarkana, what can I see for snow? I don't think Texarkana is going to see snow, unfortunately. I think it's going to be all ice. Maybe lie and tell me more. I wish I could lie, but unfortunately, I can't do that in this business. I wish I could tell you you're going to see all the snow in your dreams, but if I told you that, you'd be really disappointed when you wake up on Sunday. Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey, Max. So I was going to touch on this quickly because we were just had people talking about exact specific snowfall totals. This graphic we're looking at here is why nobody can tell you how much snow we're going to see. So the heaviest snow is going to be in this portion of the storm where it is all cold air. However, this portion of the storm is going to be right next to the portion of the storm where we have a little bit of warm air intrusion at the upper levels. And this is where sleet is going to fall. Where sleet is falling, we're going to see less snow and overall accumulation, because sleet takes up less space than snow. So the difference is going to be literally miles between where we see probably a foot of snow and then a couple inches of sleet. And then on the other side of that, we're also going to have the freezing rain. So where there's just a little bit more warm air above that, we're going to see that snow stay melted for a little bit longer before eventually freezing. And when it hits the ground, is going to flash freeze. Each of these is a very distinct line in precipitation, and we do not know exactly where these lines are going to set up as of yet. And even with the rain on the other side of the freezing rain, these are 3 different specific boundaries that we're going to be tracking down to the mile. Because if any of you who's been in an ice storm, you know that you can drive 10 to 15 miles away and there'll be all snow or all sleet there. And that's what we're going to be tracking throughout the next few days. Those are going to be the lines that we're trying to figure it out. We don't know where those lines are going to be yet. There's no way to tell where those lines are going to be yet. And if anyone's saying that they can tell you where that line's going to be, you probably shouldn't listen to them because they don't know what they're talking about. We can make our best guess based off what models are showing and say, hey, this is what the trends are looking like, and this is where we think it could drift, but no one who's saying that this is where the line is going to be is accurate as of now, and it's going to come down to those last second actual observations of real ground truth of the temperatures and the air aloft to know where we're going to see snow and where we're going to see freezing rain. It's still going to shift by up to 50 miles over the next few days.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. It's all good information. I think somebody super chatted and said I was getting Wawa, and I actually did, believe it or not. I did get Wawa. I don't know if that was already public information. I don't think it was, but it's actually diabolical. Thank you also, Timothy, for the $10 PayPal donation. Just east of Georgian Bay, watch often, best forecasts ever. Really appreciate that. Thank you for the PayPal donation. Thank you also, Chief, for the $10 super chat. Woodlands, Texas, anything crazy? Maybe some ice accumulation Sunday. That'll be about it. By the way, if you're wondering what just happened and why the light is lower, I actually have a standing desk, believe it or not. So I'm actually standing. I've had this for a while. I wasn't really able to ever use it until now. The wires all go up now. Before we had the wires like on the ground, they couldn't actually stretch up. So that is why I now look different. Thank you, Jackie, for the $20 super chat. Tupelo, Mississippi. I think Tupelo is going to definitely deal with some ice accumulation. It'll be primarily on Sunday. Saturday, it's possible, but Sunday, definitely. You can see the freezing line right here. It's going to be right there on the line there of Mississippi. And if we go over here to the more high-res model, you can see that very sharp dividing line on late Saturday, early Sunday. It's going to be very close call in terms of you seeing freezing rain earlier. It could be the difference between having an ice storm and seeing maybe a 100th of an inch of ice. But I do think you'll see ice no matter what. Just might not be an ice storm. We'll have to wait and see. All right, so I got garlic knots from Wawa. This is not an ad or anything, but might as well just try it. Actually, not bad. Might as well. They're a little bit burnt. I'll give it like a 6 out of 10. I think I've had better garlic knots from Wawa before. Thank you, Denise, for the super chat. Hey, also, Kevin, for the $20 super chat. If you have to be in Knoxville, Tennessee, or Blacksburg, Virginia, what would you choose for the weekend? That is a great question. I need to figure out where Blacksburg is first. I mean, Knoxville's definitely going to see some impacts. Let me see where Blacksburg is. Blacksburg, Virginia. I'll be honest, like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like both of them... I'd probably... I mean, in my opinion, I would go with Knoxville. Because we're going to have the mountain effect here where it's actually going to be colder and cold enough for freezing rain in North Carolina and Virginia, basically no matter what. There is a possibility that for Eastern Tennessee that you might not see that much ice. Like, there will be ice, but there's a possibility if we get enough of a warm kick out of the Gulf and a southerly wind that could drive warmer temperatures into Eastern Tennessee for a longer period of time, which might limit the ice. It's not going to completely dismiss the ice threat, but at least limit it. So Knoxville, in my opinion, has a much better chance of not seeing significant ice compared to Blacksburg. I mean, but in general, it's still definitely on the table that an ice storm could happen there. And again, tomorrow's computer models will tell us a lot more on what's actually going to be happening. You're live? I know. Yeah, I want to do more live streams. I mean, we don't usually do live streams for winter storms this early, and I'm going to be honest, like, I wasn't planning on doing live coverage like this at all anymore to do live weather forecasts, but, I mean, how do you guys like this type of stuff? Because, again, I don't usually do live coverage for winter storms days in advance or even a day in advance anymore. I used to do that more back in, like, 2023. Let me know what you guys think, because, I mean, we can bring this back. It's not something I did very often. I didn't do it at all last year. This is more because of the fact that this winter storm is just so major. I mean, there's just so many people being impacted, so I think it makes a bit more sense this time around. Yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think in the chat. Who says love it? We might have to do these more often. We had like 45,000 people watching at one point earlier, which is actually insane, because like we don't usually have that many people on a normal severe weather or winter storm stream, so... But as a reminder, if you are new to the channel, we are going to have live streams over the next several days. We'll have a marathon beginning Friday, going all the way through Sunday. We could be live upwards of 12 to 16 hours every single day. Like, this is how significant this winter storm is going to be. We'll be your one-stop shop for severe or winter storm coverage. We'll have upwards of, I think we'll have over a dozen storm chasers, and we'll have thousands of cameras across the United States covering this winter storm in detail on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, giving you every vantage point that we can possibly give you for this winter storm. So it's a great idea. Again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you have friends or family in the path of this winter storm, share the stream, get the word out there. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at MaxVelocityWX. We're also on Instagram and TikTok. If you don't know how to find those, you can go to the links in the description and follow me there. Again, we're going to be posting rapid-fire updates on those platforms all throughout these days as well. New weather information, anything like that that's not already in a video, we will have breaking updates on those platforms. We'll still have breaking updates here as well, especially when we're live, but yeah. I think the GFS is coming out. The GFS model is coming out. Let's check this out. This is the latest GFS model run. Shows freezing rain and sleet starting Friday night in North Texas. snow is a little further south than the European. This is like the problem. The GFS, I mean, GFS is kind of outlier right now, but the GFS has the freezing rain impacting Atlanta a lot more Saturday night. And this is the reason why I'm telling you guys, if you're in Atlanta, like, prepare for an ice storm. It's just not known if we're going to see an ice storm there yet. It's just too early to tell. But if you're in Atlanta, Huntsville, Tupelo, all those areas, prepare for an ice storm because it's still on the table. The GFS model, in my opinion, is still an outlier, but it is starting to pick up, though, in that, like, warm sector that kind of dives up into, or drives all the way up into Tennessee and northern Alabama, so that's interesting. GFS also has more significant snow by Sunday morning in Texas and Oklahoma. But, again, we'll have to wait and see. This is the furthest this model goes out right now. It's up to hour, oh, now it's up to hour 90. So, this is by 12 o'clock on Sunday. So, widespread snowstorm stretching from Long Island to Oklahoma and Arkansas. Freezing rain, sleet, and all sorts of ice accumulation happening, possibly from Houston back into North Carolina and Virginia. So still a very large area. Hey, Jeff, for the super chat, do you expect more snow or ice in Clay County, Texas, west of Wichita Falls? I would expect a better chance of ice there. Ice would definitely be the predominant threat, but you will definitely see some snow. I don't know how much snow you'll really see there. I mean, we might get a few inches, could be up to 8 if the freezing or the snow transitions quick enough, but at least an inch or 2. Hey, chat, it's Max's birthday today. My birthday's actually a week away. A week away from my birthday. At least it's not happening in the middle of this winter storm. A week away, though. Huge shout out to Greg with the $30 Venmo donation. W's in the chat for Greg. A very generous donation there on Venmo. $10 degrees and rain, please explain. Where is it going to be 10 degrees and raining? Let me find an example. I actually want to find an example of this because this is a good little teaching moment. I don't know where we're talking. I need to find a place. Let's look at maybe DFW. This might be an example. Yeah, look at this right here. This is a great example. This is Dallas-Fort Worth Sunday morning. This is a sounding. It's a skew-T temperature profile. This right here is the 0 degrees line. We have a massive temperature inversion right here, a few thousand feet off the ground. And that is why instead of seeing heavy snow in Dallas-Fort Worth Sunday morning, it's probably still going to be freezing rain, even though it's 23 degrees at the surface. Our temperature is increasing with height around 1,000 to 2,000 feet up. And that's why freezing rain's on the table instead of snow. Not sure if we can get any crazier look at that or any other crazy soundings here. I'm going to see if we can get something crazier, but that might be the craziest you can get. Now, this is 20 degrees at the surface, still with freezing rain happening. Anybody else have any cities that are supposed to be 10 with freezing rain on Sunday? I'm trying to find any other areas. I don't know if there's many others, but I think that's going to probably be the most extreme spot, if I had to guess. This is pretty extreme. This would be more of a sleet. This is eastern Oklahoma, 16 degrees at the surface and a temperature inversion a little bit higher up. So yeah, that's the reason why. So, pretty crazy. Thank you, Ginger, for the $20 super chat. Hartford, Connecticut. Love the channel. I appreciate that. Hartford, probably going to see around 6 to 10 inches of snow. Could be higher, though. Could be higher. But definitely around 6 to 10. The current track of this. I think the probabilities, according to the European model, were like 80 or 90% for Connecticut at least seeing 6 inches of snow. The latest GFS model run just came out, and just because why not? I mean, we're 3 hours into the stream. Might as well just show you guys this. This is the GFS model in terms of snowfall over the next few days. I mean, that's pretty crazy if we had something like this. I don't think we'll have this, but if we had a widespread 12 to 24 inches of snow from the Texas Panhandle into Tennessee, that might actually be crazy. That would be crazy. That would literally be historic for many of these areas if we got that much snow. But the GFS has a much stronger backside of the low pressure system compared to most of these models, which is why it's hinting at much higher totals, which can't be ruled out, but it's still an outlier as of right now. Hey, David, for the super chat. Latest accumulation for Fayetteville, Arkansas. Still expecting around 8 inches of snow. 6 to 10 would be my range there for right now. Hey, AJ, for the $10 super chat. Fredericksburg, Virginia. It'll be mostly an ice threat, but snow is definitely possible. Tomorrow we'll have way more details on that part of the country. I think ice is still the most dominant threat, though. Hey, Horror for the $5 super chat. What about Cross Lanes, West Virginia? Mostly going to be snow in West Virginia. There will be some ice for especially higher elevations. But early Sunday, we'll have a little area of ice accumulation, especially on the southern side of the state. I'm not sure where that exact spot is, but if you're on the north side of the state, it should be mostly snow. So mainly west of Morgantown, north of Clarksburg. Those areas should be predominantly snow. Further south, much better chance of actually seeing ice. Huge shout out to D3 with the $50 super chat. Can you check the German model? Yes, we can. I don't usually look at that one. Is there a reason? What's the German model? Is that UK Met? Riley, do you know? No clue. Let me look it up. I think it's that. Icon. It's the Icon model. It was one of the two. Alright. This is what the German model, or this is what the Icon model shows. Let me actually, wait, I can do it on here, I think, right? Yes. Icon model does not have the ability to look. Okay, so I have to go back over to here. That is phenomenal. 1 second. We don't usually use Icon model for weather or winter forecasting, but it is something that is used just kind of as another source or model. Yeah, I mean, the Icon has a much more significant ice storm further south as well. I could see this panning out. I don't think this model is crazy or anything. I just think it's a little too far south with some of the freezing rain. A little bit too many blobs down to the south, too. What is this showing in terms of ice and stuff? Let me look at... Doesn't have ice accumulation. Let's look at total snow. Yeah, I mean, it has pretty significant snow. I don't think this is impossible to happen. I mean, I still think the European model's onto something more than the Icon model is. This is not nearly as good for winter weather. How much snow for Indianapolis? I think Indianapolis will probably be around 3 to 6 inches. So nothing too crazy, not too significant. Still decent. But it'll be snowing most of Saturday night and Sunday in that part of the United States, central Indiana. Fort Wayne, and for those that are in Fort Wayne, a few of you might be tuning in from there. Fort Wayne probably somewhere around 2 to 4, maybe up to 5 inches. Shouldn't be that significant, but we'll see if anything uptrends tomorrow. Hey, Garage, for the $10 super chat. I have a motorcycle trip from Dallas to East Texas on Friday, and then back to Dallas Saturday night. Any advice? I'm worried about ice. Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be a dangerous travel for sure. So definitely stay safe. Not really a whole lot of advice I can give you other than just take extreme caution if you're traveling. That goes for anybody traveling this weekend. I would not be, if I were in your shoes in Texas, I'm not driving anywhere. Like, that would be just that would be me. But everybody has their risk tolerance to traveling. And I mean, if you want to travel on your motorcycle, so be it. Like, that's your, something that you want to do. That's something you're going to do. Hey, Aaron, for the $20 super chat, can you explain Childress, Texas? On the high res, it looked like there was all ice, but snow accumulation around 10 inches of snow. Yeah, I mean, Childress is going to be an interesting area. It's going to depend on the backside of this low pressure system. I still think it's going to be mostly ice there, but we should get a good bit of snow late Saturday night and early Sunday morning for Childress and Wichita Falls. Probably around 4 to 8 inches of snow in total. It could push towards 10 if we get a much stronger back end of this low pressure system. In Kentucky for the $20 super chat. Morgan counts in Kentucky. I think Kentucky's mostly going to be ice. Northern half of the state, much better shot of significant snow. Southern half of the state, near like Bowling Green, those specific locations can be more of an ice threat. Lexington will probably be 50-50. But again, things are going to change tomorrow. And as I've alluded to, we are going to see probably more model shifts tomorrow, which means that there will be changes to the forecast. Even based off of what I'm saying is not for certain. I'm just giving you my best forecast here, right? Because there is a world tomorrow where the models shift south again. Maybe they stay at the same spot. Maybe they go a little north. Like, everything is on the table tomorrow. Thank you, Matt, for the $20 super chat. Somerset, Kentucky. Somerset has a better chance of ice rather than snow, but we'll see what tomorrow brings. The local National Weather Service of the Somerset area is mostly just kind of saying, you know, possibility of snow, sleet, and freezing rain. They don't even really know what's going to happen. They just have winter storm watches up. Again, nobody really knows exactly what's going to happen at every single location. It's all up in the air still. Need more fridge picks? How much worse it could get. I don't think there's anything too crazy right now. I'm looking at some of them. It's probably, let me go back over to this. This is probably the best one that we got right now. Jose in Lauderdale County, Alabama. Ready to ride this out. Got a couple of Miller Lights, Busch Light, apple butter. That's it. And then some pickles. This is in Hampton, Minnesota. Just moved to Minnesota from Florida on Thursday. I'm pretty sure it snowed every day. I'm not sure why you'd move up there compared to Florida. Florida is way warmer. Garrett. And then this is from Brandy in Illinois. Emergency blanket. That's actually a good necessity. Yeah, definitely look into emergency blankets. All I need for a winter storm, some donuts. Nice. That's apparently their name is Donut King. Kroger in North Fort Worth has absolutely no chicken and almost no beef. Lines are also crazy long. That is going to be a common theme. If you're getting groceries tomorrow, good luck. At this point, tomorrow is really the only day you can get groceries. I mean, Friday's risking it a bit, but yeah. And again, if you want to send in photos and videos, there's a QR code on your screen right now. There's a link on your screen as well. So if you want to check that out, definitely make sure to scan the QR code or the second to top link in the description if you want to send in photos and videos. Thank you, Larry, for the $10 super chat, and also Hugo for the super chat. What app and site are you using for the weather models? This is Weatherbell right here. Cincinnati's fluctuating a lot. Again, all the computer models are going to be fluctuating over the next few days. They're going to continue to fluctuate. Tomorrow, they should fluctuate the most, and then on Friday, it should be almost all locked in at that point. The most fluctuation is definitely going to happen tomorrow. Thank you, Cray, for the $20 super chat. Will Oklahoma going to be able to build a snowman this weekend? I think there's a possibility. It's definitely on the table. I mean, you really only need 1 inch of snow for a snowman. Sometimes even a little coating. You can build like a tiny little miniature snowman with a dusting of snow. So I think it's possible. Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey, Max, I believe we just got our first batch of winter storm warnings for Oklahoma. So those should populate here in a few seconds, but we are seeing those warnings come through now. That's why it says above my head, winter storm warning. Let's see if I can get some information on this quickly. Yeah, it looks like this is for total snow accumulations of 6 inches or more and a glaze of ice up to 0.2 of an inch possible in southern Oklahoma and North Texas. So this is just the start of the winter storm warnings. You can see over there on the counter that we still have 31 winter storm watches. At some point, a majority of those 31 winter storm watches will be upgraded to winter storm warnings. But right there, Oklahoma City and Lawton, that is our first area that has been upgraded to a winter storm warning.
Thank you, Riley, for the update. So again, breaking news. Winter storm warnings have been issued for Oklahoma, Wichita Falls, Woodward, Lawton, Ada, and back up towards Perry and Ponca City. So this is where we're expecting 6 inches of snow or more. Travel may become extremely dangerous as their impacts as of right now. Power outages will not be as big of a deal in Oklahoma as compared to Texas or Arkansas or northern Mississippi or Tennessee, where ice is going to be a big concern. But at least 6 inches or more of snow is likely. And then a glaze of ice or up to 2/10 of an inch of ice is possible on the southern side of the state. So, and first winter storm warnings of our winter storm have been issued, and I would expect overnight tonight, this entire area will probably be pink. Actually, sorry, let me highlight more of it. It will probably be all this area that'll be highlighted by pink by the time you wake up tomorrow. Hey, Talon, for the 8 months. By the way, this is, I believe, the only active winter storm warnings that we have in all of the country, including Alaska. So that is the first of our winter storm warnings across the entire country right now. It's not very common that you see something like this. And again, the map is obviously filled of blue. All the dark blue are winter storm watches from Arizona to Houston, the Mid-Atlantic. It goes into Lafayette and Lake Charles, Louisiana as well. I mean, these winter storm watches are massive. It's a massive area that we're talking about. There are over 100 million people that live in this region. So again, if you have any friends or family that need live coverage, need live weather updates, need weather updates in general, and share the stream with them, get the word out there. Again, we'll be providing commercial-free coverage here over the next several days on live streams. We're gonna have 2 videos a day, I think, every single day still, all the way through Saturday. We'll probably end up on Friday. I'm not sure what we're doing for Friday yet for live streaming, but if we're live, we'll probably make a video literally while I'm live, which will be interesting. I've never done that before, but we might do that on Friday. And make sure you're obviously subscribed to the channel if you're new. Again, we'll have live updates. I am a degreed meteorologist, and I will keep you posted with the latest on everything that you need to know about this evolving winter storm. It is expected to be a big deal. Again, I know a lot of people have said on social media, like, there's a lot of fear-mongering, there's a lot of hype. And I'm going to be honest, there really, I think, is a certain, to a degree, there is. But at the same time, a lot of this is for a reason. Because, I mean, this is going to likely be a historic winter storm. Unlike anything that we've seen in the last 5 to 10 years, for some of you, not all of you, but some of you are going to experience one of the worst winter storms that we have seen in the last 5 to 10 years. So just buckle up, make sure that you're ready for this winter storm. That's why I'm urging everybody to prepare. And that's why I'm live 2 to 3 days before this thing even happens. Because, like, I want you guys to be aware of the situation that's about to evolve here from Texas into the Ohio Valley. So this is going to be a big, big deal. And it all starts, and you can see on my screen right here, there's an impact start time. It basically will start in about 1 day and 11 hours. That's the starting time of when we will begin to start to see impacts. Thank you, Reagan, for the $10 Venmo donation. Thank you for being our go-to weather guy. You can watch your YouTube videos and not have to worry about waiting. I can't read the rest of it. I appreciate your Venmo donation. Hey, David, for the $20 super chat. It seems like the models have green in Tom's River, New Jersey. I think it's gonna be mostly. I think it'll be mostly snow in New Jersey. Thank you, War Dog, also for the $20 super chat. Are us Philadelphians getting ready for our long-awaited blizzard of 96 part 2? There won't be a blizzard. Winds aren't gonna be that strong. But if you're back over in the Philadelphia area, it's gonna be almost all snow there. So you'll definitely get a good clip of snow, probably right around 6 to 10 inches at least, if not more. Thank you, Arc, for becoming a Maximum Velocity member. As a reminder, by the way, we will have a video tomorrow morning, like normal, tomorrow afternoon as well, so make sure you click the bell icon so you're notified and subscribe if you're new to the channel with the latest details on this winter storm. And we'll probably have a power outage graphic at some point. I'm not sure if we're going to have it tonight, but we'll at least have it at some point, probably by tomorrow. And so we'll have an idea. We'll give you an idea of like where power outages are the most likely. I'm not going to make that graphic, though, until we can kind of lock in the ice threat more. I do think if you're like North Texas, for example, like power outages are definitely possible. They could be widespread too if we get enough ice, which I think that's definitely possible. Especially considering how much ice accumulation is in the forecast right now. And we're talking about significant icing. That has not changed at all for Dallas-Fort Worth. Forecast has been pretty consistent for DFW. I do want to remind everybody that's watching, I mean, there's over 20,000 of you. There are obviously so many weather sources online right now, and just make sure you're using a trustworthy one. Again, we've been very consistent with our forecast wording. Obviously, there's been shifts, but there hasn't been anything super dramatic so far. But there are obviously people that post out there that show 20 to 30 inches of snow happening in DFW on Wednesday or Thursday. Or not Wednesday or Thursday, but like Friday or Saturday, one of these weekend days. Keep in mind that that is not happening. We're not going to see 20 inches of snow in Dallas. I hate to break your heart, but that's not happening. Little Rock, you might see some snow, but we don't really know yet. It's too early to tell down the line, even including Nashville. But we are leaning towards an ice storm for Little Rock. We're leaning towards that for Nashville. But I've just seen some graphics posted out there that show ridiculous amounts of snowfall down to the south. And a lot of these areas are not going to see that snow. And if we're talking about like southern Arkansas, I saw a graphic posted a couple days ago showing all sorts of snow accumulation and showing a bullseye of 24 inches in southern Arkansas. That ain't happening, Chief. That's just not. I mean, we're not talking about snow down there. It's going to be almost all ice in southern Arkansas. Most models weren't even showing snow that far south, even during that time, and for whatever reason, that graphic went viral. So, again, I just wanted you to know that we'll continue to give you the most, reliable weather coverage here on YouTube over the next few days, and all across social media will continue to be, giving you the latest weather information. Just make sure whatever weather source you're using is trustworthy, and they know what they're talking about, because there's a lot of, people that post random graphics online that sometimes go viral, and then, just isn't always actually accurate. Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey, Max, one quick thing as we're winding down here. We've seen another expansion to our winter storm watches, and we can now say that we have basically, it's not quite concurrent, but almost concurrent winter storm watches all the way from Tucson, Arizona to the East Coast at this point in time. We're almost to the East Coast. We need a few more winter storm watch polygons there, but that is quite the line of winter storm watches. I personally don't remember any time we've seen a line that's this long across the country. We're almost going from coast to coast, and pretty soon we should see those winter storm warnings reach the East Coast. So that would be almost, let me measure it real quick on the Radar Mega app. That'd be almost 2,000 miles or more of concurrent winter storm watches.
That is a lot. Thank you, Riley, for the update. Somebody asked in the chat, Flower Mound, Texas, which is like Dallas-Fort Worth, is it going to be just ice or snow? It'll be mostly ice. Very little snow. If we see snow, it's going to be Sunday morning. It's not really going to outweigh the ice, though. The ice is way more concerning. St. Louis total. St. Louis probably going to be in the ballpark of 3 to 6. Thank you, Quinn, for the $5 super chat. How will Michigan be affected? I don't think Michigan's going to see a whole lot. Southern Michigan's going to be pretty low end in terms of snowfall. Maybe a few inches. I mean, you'll at least see 1 or 2 inches, but probably no more than 4 or 5 inches of snow. It's not going to be very significant up in Michigan. On the backside of the storm, though, lake effect snow will come into play, and it could be a lot more concerning by then. But otherwise, not looking terrible for that area. Thank you, Brooke, for the $20 super chat. How's St. Louis, Missouri looking? Just talked about it. Probably going to see around 3 to 6 inches, 4 to 8, especially on the south side. It could change tomorrow, but for right now, that's the range I'm giving you. And I think that's pretty much going to be where we're going to be looking in terms of snowfall there. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of change on that, maybe even an inch or two, but should be mostly around that range. Thank you, M, for the super chat. What do you think Delaware will get? Delaware is going to be kind of on the fringe of seeing snow and ice, but I think it'll be mostly snow, probably 6 to 10 inches. North Texas here, my app says 100% chance of snow on Sunday. I mean, there will likely be snow in North Texas, at least for most of it, but not everybody's going to see snow. And even if you see snow, it does not mean you're going to be seeing 8 to 10 inches. I mean, most of North Texas will not see that much accumulation. Most areas like Dallas-Fort Worth, 2 to 4 maybe inches of snow. Sherman, right along the Red River in like Gainesville, Texas, you'll probably be closer to 4 to 8 inches of snow, maybe an isolated spot higher, but that's generally what we're looking at. And then if you're back down towards Waco, I don't expect any snow down there. If any, it would be very briefly, flurries. Thank you, Derek, for the $5 super chat. How confident are we that DC Remaining mainly snow versus mixing issues. I think it'll be mostly snow. There could be some ice, though. Again, I'm not ruling out a little bit of ice over there in Washington, D.C. It's just a little too early to say if it's going to be one dominant type or another. We'll have to see what the models look like tomorrow, because, again, we are looking at a little bit of a different setup compared to what we were looking at, you know, yesterday. Yesterday, it looked like almost all snow, so... Hey, Fister for the super chat. How much ice can we realistically expect for Charlotte, North Carolina? I think a half an inch to an inch is on the table. I think the worst area for ice accumulation will be in North Carolina. Out of this entire event. I think the cold air damming setup is much more intense there than most of these other areas. Southern Arkansas is probably going to be really bad too. I think Southern Arkansas could, like, I mean, trees across the board could be seriously damaged in Southern Arkansas from how much freezing rain and ice that we're expecting, so... Yeah, I'm hesitant on showing you guys a GFS model again. I'm more leaning still towards the European. I don't think the GFS has a good grip of this winter storm. It really hasn't this entire time, but I don't think it has a great grip. On this winter storm right now. I think the European's been very consistent, and I think that's the model I'm going to stick with for right now. And then we have all the high-res models coming out tomorrow, so we'll have a much better idea of everything tomorrow. So we just got to kind of wait for that. What is the name of this winter storm? There is no naming of winter storms. That is literally only a Weather Channel thing. Hey, guys, to the super chat boot for ice in Flower Mound, but thanks for the heads up. Yeah, unfortunately, that's what it's leaning towards for Flower Mound. I used to live in the Flower Mound area, so, I mean, that's not an area that can really deal with ice very well, and we're talking about possibly over half an inch in some spots, so pretty concerning. Hey, you sipping for the $10 super chat. Dayton, Ohio snow. I would say right now around 4 to 8 inches, but it definitely could be higher. It could also just be a little lower, but 4 to 8 is a good range for right now. Give it a name. If I gave this winter storm a name, I would name it Derek. No reason in particular, but why not? By the way, this winter storm is going to be breaking a lot of records. I've actually been working on a website that will display all this data for you in the future, and it'll be publicly accessible at some point down the road. But we have this like little thing here that shows you all the different record-breaking temperatures that are coming. And this right here is going to be Friday. What is this? This is Saturday. Let me go Friday night first. These are low maximum temperatures. Many areas in the Midwest will be breaking low maximum temperatures on Friday. Some of the coldest weather that we've ever seen in these areas for the month of January, with temperatures in like Grand Rapids only reaching 4 degrees for high temperature on the 23rd. By Saturday, we'll have records being crushed from Texas all the way back into the Northeast. Dallas-Fort Worth right around or just below the 1948 daily temperature record at 24 degrees for a high temperature. So very cold conditions. 11 degrees below the previous record in 1940 in Lawton, Oklahoma for a high temperature. So we are going to have some really crazy records being broken here this weekend and into the beginning of next week. About 7 degrees below the previous record also in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and then 6 degrees for Tulsa. All those records in 1940 or 1948. These are almost 80 years old. Sunday is not going to be much different. Sunday morning, we'll have record-breaking low temperatures all across the southern plains. Texas, Arkansas, a lot of these areas forecast to be in the negatives for low temperatures Sunday morning. Even New Orleans will be breaking that record. At least tying it, if not breaking it. It's 6 degrees below the previous record over in southwestern Arkansas. So yeah, very, very cold weather, and it will continue into Monday. All these areas dealing with record-breaking temperatures on Monday, and then Tuesday, same thing. So again, it's about to get very, very cold out there. Make sure that you are ready for extreme cold. There's a lot of extreme cold warnings also up right now across the southern plains, back into the Midwest, and even across the northern plains. So very, very cold weather is coming, along with all the snow and ice that we are going to see. How much ice for Memphis? Quarter to half an inch of ice is what I would expect right now, but that could be higher. It could also be lower. Just depends on the trends tomorrow, but that's a conservative range for right now. Thank you, Peter, for the $10 super chat. What am I looking at for Landenberg, Pennsylvania? Most of Pennsylvania will be snow on Sunday and into early Monday. There will be very little ice, I think. If you're over here in that small corner, I think you were just referencing, there is a threat of ice, but it will probably not be ice storm criteria. I don't think it's going to last long enough, but you could see up to a tenth, maybe a fifth of an inch of ice. You shout out to Douglas with the $20 super chat. How do you think this will compare to the 2021 freeze? The cold isn't going to last as long, and across the board, the cold is really, I think, the most memorable thing for a lot of people with the 2021 freeze. The ice is going to be worse, I think, for most of these areas, and obviously the snow is going to be worse too. I mean, this is a much larger area. So Texas was a little bit different. Texas had a lot more snow in that event. This event is going to be a crippling ice storm, and we are talking about freezing rain that could last for over 24 hours, all falling at one time. So that's obviously way more concerning. On top of that, though, I mean, like, the ice is going to be worse for a lot more places. We're talking about from Texas and New Mexico into the Carolinas. It's a much larger winter storm. So it's comparable, but I do think the power outages are more concerning here, not because of how cold it is and the power grid can't hold up. It's because of the ice and how much ice could accumulate on those power lines. Yeah, the worst part about this is not necessarily going to be the snow. I mean, again, the snow is not the worst part. It's obviously the freezing rain, but even if you get snow, the worst part behind this is how cold it's going to get. It's going to get very cold Monday and Tuesday. So it's going to be extremely cold behind this, and it looks like the Arctic air is going to be sitting for most areas north of Oklahoma and across the Ohio Valley into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're not really going to have any warm periods, so any snow that falls, a lot of it won't really melt until at least Tuesday or Wednesday, if not longer. Thank you, 7-4, for becoming a member. Will Illinois get snow? Illinois will get snow. I'll put up a little snow map here. It's not the right map. Here's a snow map that's for most of the Ohio Valley and the Northeast. Yeah, this is an approximate look. Things are going to change tomorrow, but it gives you an idea of how much snow you might see on this weekend. But yeah, as a reminder, make sure that you're preparing for this winter storm. That's really the biggest takeaway from today's stream. All right, prepare for this winter storm. That is what you need to be doing. Have generators, have flashlights. If you have any of that stuff, get it ready to go tonight and tomorrow. Get groceries if you have not already. In case you do not have power for upwards of a week or two. In case you are not able to travel for a few days. Like, all those things are on the table with the ice accumulation that's possible. Thank you so much to Baron for the 10 gifted memberships. W's in the chat for Baron. Thank you also Joshua for becoming a maximum velocity member. Ice in Middle Georgia. I think it's a low chance right now. That could change, but for right now it's a low chance. Hey, Todd, for becoming a member. How do you best prepare for a storm? I'll give you some preparation stuff. This isn't everything you should do, but this is at least some stuff that you can do to prepare for this winter storm. Is right here. Take a screenshot of this if you'd like. But this is this is just kind of an idea to get. It's at least a Kickstarter to think of ways to prepare for this kind of winter storm. Apparently, a massive winter storm is trending on social media. Hey, Chick, for the super chat. How much snow or ice can we realistically expect in Tulsa? It'll be starting out as ice and freezing rain, which will lead to ice and some sleet, and then it'll go to snow. So mostly snow for Tulsa, but there will be at least the beginning period where we see some ice accumulation. Thank you, Arkansas, for the super chat. Any snow for San Antonio? I do not expect snow in San Antonio. Maybe flurries if you're lucky, but that'd be a low-end chance. That'd be on the very back side of this storm that's going to be coming through. It's a good idea in terms of the worst weather impact they can expect out of the system. You know, one thing that I do want to point out too, and I mean, this is something that is entirely possible. It's not really related to the snow and ice, but we actually do have a possibility of seeing severe weather on Sunday. It's not impossible. It'd be across the southeast, but that is a possibility. Southern Alabama, if this storm continues to trend to the north. Here are the weather alerts that are in effect, by the way. So we have winter storm watches and warnings in effect. Oklahoma, Texas, back in the mid-Atlantic. That is the updated watches and warnings. Huge shout out to Cleek with the $50 super chat. From East Central Indiana, is it possible for the GFS to catch up on other models that shifted north? I think it's going to continue to shift north. I think the GFS model is lagging behind every model. So I think the European model is still the one that's the most accurate. Could shift again to the south tomorrow, but we'll see. It's a matter of waiting at this point. The 0Z model run for the European comes out in the next 30 minutes. 30 minutes to an hour. So, I mean, we'll have about an hour, I think, from now it'll come out. So, if there's any major shift, we'll let you know on social media for sure. But that's the one I'm still going with. As a reminder, today's stream is brought to you by Accurate Weather Stations. Again, you can get your own Accurate weather equipment and station with the top link in the description below. And use code MAX10 for 10% off at checkout. They are a brand new sponsor of our channel. And if you click the top link, you'll be sent to this page here where it gives you my recommended products and a bunch of other people that we work with, like Riley, Storm Chaser, Connor Croft, and as well as Storm Hunter Media. They have portable anemometers, they have rain gauges, a lot of cool stuff. And make sure to check this out. It's the top link in the description below. I really appreciate Accurate for sponsoring today's stream. We are going to be working really closely with them, by the way. This isn't just like an ad, but obviously it is, but at the same time, we're also going to be integrating this stuff like weather stations and weather data and a lot of other cool stuff into our programs that we use. Okay, so like if you get a weather station, we might actually integrate that down the road into things like Radar Omega. We might even integrate that into our own live coverages. So it'll be really cool to get actual weather data in real time. But again, they have a ton of weather stations, they have rain gauges, all sorts of cool stuff, lots of accessories as well that you can get. Again, check this out. It's the top link in the description below, and use code MAX10 for 10% off at checkout. And yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff playing with them. They're all very affordable weather products as well. You can easily find something that's very affordable in your range, including rain gauges and all that good stuff. So definitely check that out. Thank you, Solar, for the $30 super chat. I missed that. I want to give some more money as a thanks for how much of a good person you are. From Tuttle, Oklahoma, I give some big thanks. Really appreciate that, Dolphin, and thank you so much for the super chat. And sorry I've been missing your super chats, because again, this chat has been flying today. I did not think we were going to have over 40,000 people watching at once on the stream. I had absolutely no expectation of even having 10,000 of you watching. I mean, it is a big winter storm, but to be honest, I was not expecting so many people to be watching tonight. This is kind of a surprise, to be honest. A lot more of you than I expected, but hey, this is going to be a major winter storm. There's not really any other way to put it, so this is going to be borderline historic, catastrophic even for some areas. I mean, this is going to be quite the winter storm here. So hey, Jordan, for the super chat. Try super chat number 4. Guys, yeah, it's almost impossible to actually get to me. I'm trying. There's a lot of you. Only one of me. Also, thank you, Rodriguez, for the super chat. Odessa Midland. Odessa Midland should be mostly freezing rain to start, and then it'll transition to snow late Friday into Saturday. Thank you, Freddie, for becoming a maximum member, or velocity member. Appreciate it. All right, we've been live for 3.5 hours. It's been a pretty long stream. So I'm going to go ahead and wind it down there. It's been a long stream. We'll be live probably again tomorrow, and then we'll have live streams Friday through Sunday. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon so you're notified with the latest updates. We'll have 2 videos tomorrow, and then 2 more videos probably on Friday, and live coverage for an extensive amount of time. And so, yeah, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That's the biggest thing. Also, make sure to follow us on our social medias. That's Facebook, Twitter, at MaxVelocityWX. Make sure to check out Accurate as well. Really appreciate them sponsoring today's stream. It is the top link in the description below. Use code MAX10 for 10% off at checkout, okay? Check out Accurate. Give them some support. We really love them as a sponsor. We're going to continue to work with them here in the future. They have a lot of cool products as well, all right? We're going to redirect you to our second channel, more Max Velocity. We have a 24/7 live weather camera and just live weather stream going right now with live weather cameras, live weather data all across the southern plains, all across the Ohio Valley, all across this risk area for this winter storm. And so I'm going to go ahead and send you guys all over there. And so stay on the stream and you'll be redirected to our 24/7 stream. Subscribe to the channel, follow us on our social media, and we will see you in the next live stream, which will probably be tomorrow, and our next two videos, which will also be tomorrow.